aggressive. Let's do this one. Damn, I don't need no more beans. Too fucking fat, get ass you to work out. Hard dress and a fart on.
Hey everybody. Whoa! That explosion was for excitement, guys. Because what we got today is something that's going to blow your mind, guys. Did you know? Did you know that the Earth is not actually round and shit? It's flat. The Earth be flat, dogs. Shit. And we're going to find out about that today, guys. You don't have to hit the lights, Hanford, because this is too big for the TV. So you just put your feet up. You guys ready? Here we go. The Earth is not a ball. The biggest deception. We're going to learn a little something, guys. It be flat. Shit. White boys hiding the truth about the flat Earth, my brother. It's very dramatic. Darren Nesbitt? No shit. Now I'm excited. Me too. I love the Flat Earth videos because you can watch it and just have a good time. I always like the ones. Well, how come? What was this stupid? Something about landing a plane. Like, how come the Earth isn't running away from them while they're trying to land, or other way, they're running forward. Guys, a time to wake. You hear that, Crade? You hear that, Crade? That goes out to you. You gotta wake up, dude. What have you been saying? Oh, yeah.
See you.
Got the ladies there and everything.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for inviting me to come and speak, Karen. It's a pleasure.
You had so many.
It's one of the first talks I've done on this. We've been online. This topic has been online for a year, just over a year.
It's time.
Funny enough, somebody, in fact, Chris was saying, he went to look on YouTube and there's
When a well-packaged web of lies has been sold gradually to the masses over generations, the truth will seem utterly preposterous, and its speaker, a raving lunatic.
Now, thousands of videos and video makers on this. When we started looking at it a year ago,
now's not the time to be sleepy.
Brought it to our attention. There was 2 or 3 video makers. That's how quickly this topic has mushroomed and exploded. Really. Normally, people,
He's a cool dude.
The story with when I'm seeing it now. Like I said, I've been on board for best part of a year with this realization. Really,
Does this guy have a karate suit? Probably not, but that'd be funny.
And the story you see all the time is, at first I thought, yeah, what a crazy topic, yeah, whatever, it's lunatic. But when I looked at it for a couple of weeks, I watched videos.
He's your above average lunatic.
I thought about this, that and the other and all the rest of it, and I came back and I can't believe it. The world is right. It's a story we hear it again and again and again. I've been doing it for a year, and people either get on board with it or they're closed off. It's like, I'm not having any of it, and that's fine. What I'm really grateful for is the opportunity to come and talk about this stuff live.
Thanks,
in front of a live audience and see how it goes. I've no idea how it's going to go, so we'll see. The similarities between what you already know. Can you move to the next slide? The similarities between what you already know and this topic should become self-evident.
Logic versus real world.
Talk I'm going to do, and that's what I've concentrated on. These are the 4 things. First of all, because this topic does drive people nuts. There's a difference between your primary knowledge and your secondary knowledge, and I'm going to contradict myself as you always do later on. But your primary knowledge is what you can obviously take from your own.
I remember there was a dude who said the Earth is a ball, but we're stuck on like it's concave.
It's your own evidences.
It's the other way around.
Including that, the witness testimony of several, of reliable people. So, ordinary people say. Lots of Australians say it goes dark at the same time as it's light here.
Gary, you cocksucker!
You can't be.
The Earth is flat, Gary.
Secondary knowledge is quite clearly everything that you've been told that you can't prove for yourself. We all know that there is history lies, etc., etc. You can go on and on with that, but just throughout this topic, you need to bear in mind that the complete difference between what you can actually verify for yourself with your own senses. What can I see, hear, feel? What can I test? If you're into science, what
does he have odd sub attends?
What can I observe? Through my telescope, etc., etc. What can I see for myself, and what is then inferred knowledge? That's such and such because it's come from education or Hollywood or all those sources. Just bear in mind the difference between those 2. I'll probably refer back to it quite a lot as we go on.
Hey, the chat.
Second thing is things can be logical but not necessarily related to the real world. Sorry. Things
Leave your preconceived notions at the door.
A good example of that is evolution.
It's time to lift the veil, guys.
I'm going to get into the whole topic of it tonight.
You've been lied to.
But it does relate to it. Or DNA, should I say. Chimpanzees and human beings are allegedly 99% similar in DNA.
No, that's not true.
What we infer from that, and what we're all taught as children, and the whole world is taught, is therefore humans evolved from DNA. Now, that's a perfectly logical step to make. It's a perfectly logical and plausible way of thinking. However, if I give you another potential explanation, you can see how, it's logical, they're both logical, but just because it's logical, it doesn't necessarily mean that's correct in terms of the real world. So in terms of, if you say, if you go the other the other side of the fence
Proof.
to evolution, you say everything's been created or designed, then of course, if you're going to design a chimpanzee and a human being, of course the designs are going to be similar. Of course, you're going to use similar DNA. You're not going to throw away, or its DNA for legs,
What's it got to do with the Earth?
eyes, hair, all the rest of it. So quite clearly, you're going to have, not one necessarily leads to the other.
It did,
Just
James.
because something's logical, necessarily, quite obviously, it relates to the real world. You're with me on that? Did I explain that well? Okay, cool.
Whatever, dude.
Everything I'm also going to say tonight, quite clearly, and I always say this when I do Wake Up Manchester, don't believe a word I say. You don't have to believe a word I say.
Research it
But
for
I'm not
yourself.
like the guy on the BBC News staring right into you every single night, hypnotising you, telling you what to think. Please go and research every single thing for yourself.
Everyone says this. No one's gonna research any of this shit.
Things come from the internet. It's all researchable for yourself. Quite clearly. That's what you expect people who are seeking the truth to go and do as well. And the other thing is, it's just a change of perspective. So, like I say, it drives people crazy. It's more the people that have
He's a very handsome
spent
man.
their life doing more scientific study. Yeah, that have really invested in science in whatever in all its forms. Or it could be any kind of profession that doesn't involve navigation or where you're on the pilot sailors, etc., etc. But
Ted is awakened.
at the end of the day, this is just going to be a change of perspective. If you get what we're talking about tonight. Next slide. I find after a year of
You got to lift the veil, dude. I didn't even know I had a veil on.
arguing with people really, but you think you're trying to explain and show people. But I think one of the problems is if the thing's so ludicrous, because we've all been brought up, we believe in a spinning globe Earth in a vast universe. So
It's to make you feel insignificant,
as none of that's true. We're on a fixed plane. There's no universal lie. Quite clearly, you're going to think the person's mad. So any piece of evidence that you come up with, and there's
Wacky
lots and lots
snatch.
and lots, doesn't matter because it's already too ludicrous in the first place. I'm not going to accept it. So quite clearly, I'm just saying, have an open mind. Let the evidence build up.
Oh, we got
Let the
some
build
evidence.
up for yourself. Click on. Doesn't depend on one piece of information. Yeah. I didn't see the first video or the first or the first twig or the first idea and suddenly think,
powerful sniffer.
I realise I'm wrong now. Quite clearly, it takes a lot of clues. Next, please.
So true.
Okay,
artisan.
we all know about false flags, the war on terror. Hands up if you don't. You're not aware that the entire telescreen war on it's all 1984. We're all being led. Everybody knows that, yeah.
We're gonna get
Cool,
decapitated
excellent. Let's move
because
on.
of the round Earth.
Our health, quite clearly. The attacks everywhere. We all know about everything on the screen. Yeah, cool. Move on.
Now I want a big bang.
Banking. Yeah, move on.
Illuminopoly.
Every single leader. We're going to be. You're not falling for Putin's the saviour or anything like that. They're all in on it. You know what I mean? New World Order, etc.
Putin's the same height as Merkel.
etc. Please move on. What else? You're 100% sure the moon landings were fake? Yeah? No? Not sure? Hands up if you're 100% sure the moon landings were fake.
This guy's a squirrely fella.
60%, cool. Everything NASA does is a lie. Obviously, everybody knows that there's an occult brotherhood, Jesuits, Freemasons.
You better get used to not having
There's
a dome.
very speculation about who's at the top, who's running it, all the rest of it. But quite clearly, we know about the occult.
Oh, I got the Wikipedia entry. That's great.
Freaky societies. And again, we know that we've been mass programmed through the education system, being indoctrinated. We know quite clearly that it's all propaganda through the media, not just.
I'd like to see you try them then, hippopotamus. See how fake it really is.
The entertainment. It's not entertainment. It's propaganda. It's all to program our minds into believing in this cult. Okay. Who believes they're living on a spinning globe?
Not me. I'm not a moron.
One person. So I'm talking to the already converted. Everybody's already researched all this. Okay, fair enough. Like I say, I don't. What I don't do is go on speculation so much. I mean, you do when you first look into a topic. You look at everything. You think everything. You want to look at everything. Discuss everything. But when you get your feet back on the ground. All I want to know is what can I disprove? Okay, if it's something that I can't prove, then there's no point in saying obviously this is fact.
And Ziggy.
What I think
Ziggy's
this
also
whole
in
thing
the
needs
audience.
is for people to realise that we've been deceived, realise that that isn't the model, and then obviously, especially the scientific among
You
us, to
gotta
go
lift the
out
veil
and find
thing,
out
Kane.
what the hell is the model. You know what I mean? Let's do. Let's work together and find out what it is, because they're lying about it.
All right, come on.
This is the number one reason why we believe the Earth is a ball, because we've seen photographic evidence.
Yeah, it's right
that
there.
was taken in 1972, and it's used and used again and again and again and again on so many different pictures. And never twig. Hang on a minute. How come it's the same? It's the same. Why come they took one picture? You know what I mean?
Susan can smell
Photographers
my
take
butt.
hundreds of thousands of pictures of one rare bird or whatever it is. We'll come back to it in a minute. Next time. Everybody's got a globe in the classroom. Everybody's a globe in every classroom.
Yeah, that thing's fucking bullshit,
That's another
dude.
reason. We just taught it. 2 and 2 is 4, and the world that you live on is a ball. The difference between primary knowledge and secondary knowledge. Nobody's ever seen that. You've never seen that. It's the secondary knowledge. This is where we live.
That's just
okay.
bullshit. That's a lie, dude.
Fine.
a
Everybody
fucking
gets
lie.
taught it. Everybody
I'm sick of
believes
it.
Somebody says, "Is that true?" You get laughed at. You're completely insane.
We got
completely
sniffer
out of it.
postings.
You know? Is this science fiction or science fact?
Bullshit,
Again.
dude. What is it, Star Trek?
Nobody's
Get
ever
out of here
seen
with
it.
that crap.
We've never actually had a picture of it. We've seen planets and what have you from the ground, but this is all conjecture. And again, it's programmed into us via education again and again and again. Next slide.
He's right.
Obviously, with this subject,
It's
we've
flat.
been we've been looking out for genuine photographs. That's from one of the many weather balloons that were sent up, some by school kids. What they generally tend to do, them GoPro lenses, if you probably watch them, is they go that way and then flat and then that way as they
Elvis.
float up. When they calm down, you quite clearly see the horizon's flat. I tell you the other thing as well is, no matter how high you go up, I think that one went to about
Whoa.
22 miles. The horizon's always at eye level. That would never happen if you were on a ball, and it doesn't matter how big the ball is. This is another thing that we've never questioned. We're saying it's just massive. We're on a ball, and it's
Yeah, well, those
24
Greeks were a bunch of maggots. You know what I'm saying?
4,000 miles in circumference, and it's 8,000 miles in diameter, and it's so big. You're not
How
gonna
can you
know
calculate anything with wieners in your butt?
curve or anything else. So, but every horizon's always flat, no matter what. You know, please. Again, if we've seen all these
Whoa.
kind of pictures all our lives, this is the first photograph taken from space, and again, flat horizon. Now you can look at that. Go back, if you would.
Maybe he'll answer that question, Cave Sweet.
You know, go more another one. And they can do one or two things with that.
You know what, dude?
You know what I mean?
You know, you're a big boy now. It's time to run your own clicker. You know what I mean?
Because it's always a small quarter, and they can say you can get it to imply that it's just part of a massive Earth. But as you've seen, it's a completely and utterly straight, flat horizon. Next. Okay, we're gonna absolutely we're gonna whiz through these, because you all know the moon landers are completely fake. It was completely
Bullshit,
a shoot.
dude.
You've got to think as well that if you're faking the moon landers, they didn't go halfway there. I hear stories of. Well, I think we went there, but there was aliens, and they warned us off, so we ran away again. That's from a Hollywood script. It's how easy that people's ideas and beliefs about the world, about the truth in the world, are mixed up and confused by Hollywood and by education. If you ever really want to tell people, you want to show proof to people that the moon landers are fake, just show them the landscapes. Just compare.
I always say, have you been on the moon? And they go, no. And I go, yep.
Moon with landscapes. Well, I just picked a few at random
Fake
on
as
the
fuck,
internet.
dude.
Well,
You're right, Ting Tang.
We'll run through them in a sec, but you can quite clearly tell these are sets and they're painted on, and obviously the real
Kubrick
landscapes
did
from
it.
Earth, real landscape. It's supposed to be a quarter of the size, but you'd still get a sense of depth. Your own eyes, your own senses can quite clearly see that the difference between the moon, the film set, and Earth. It doesn't seem to be any longer than 100 yards, but we'll flick through them. Yeah. You can't really see with the colour now, can you?
That's a desert.
Quite clearly see there are mountains in the distance. It is going to take you quite a while to get over there, unlike the next picture.
You know they did.
Yeah, these are painted on. So I should have the pointer really.
Look at that.
This is a set. That's where the actual set finishes. This is Stanley Kubrick.
What I always say, if that's really the moon, where the fuck are the trees? No one can ever answer that one.
Yeah, mountains. Let's have a look what he did for 2001, the year before the moon landings. Yeah, move on. Grand Canyon, as you can tell, it's got real depth to it. Again, just flick through them.
Fucking fake, dude.
Just compare these side by side. People will soon quite clearly see.
Looks like a
Real
PlayStation 1 game.
mountains, fake mountains. Real
Yeah, and
mountains,
kidnapped
fake
kids.
mountains,
Cave Squeaker.
Real landscape, fake landscape. Everything's pristine for the shots.
Gunfolds.
That was the first picture taken by Neil Armstrong
Where's the dust?
from the moon. Gold foil. They love the gold foil, NASA. It's a film set. Everything you see there is a film set. In 1969, we were a lot more gullible. But it doesn't matter now because it's a done deal. That's what I'm saying about, I suppose, received mass.
To be fair, Utah is very confusing.
Mass science, really. It's a done deal. We went to the moon, now we're moving on, now we're on Mars. And funnily enough, we're releasing The Martian at the moment with Matt Damon. They've just released that. I mean, NASA have been in the news a hell of a lot recently. All of a sudden, you didn't hear them for years, and now almost every week they've discovered a new planet or a new this or a new that. That's because this realisation that we've been lied to on this scale is becoming quite clearly mass knowledge. They monitor the social networks and the YouTube network. They can see it's going inside the country.
That's why I got a warning under my video.
Just find out about
or
it.
Some wiki thing.
Fake moon rocks given to the Dutch Prime Minister. How we laughed about it. It's petrified wood. I think it went for £348,000 or something at auction.
I hate to be the dummy who bought that.
I'm not going to go into the lunar lander. Like I said, I didn't know how well versed you were with everything. Again, just ask people, how did two men live in what is basically a two-man tent for 14 days?
They were Greek. They were two Greek fellas. It was fine.
Keep going with no toilet, no store for the waste, tiny little bits of oxygen, water. Where's no? I don't know where they stored the food. And if you
in the refrigerator, idiot.
How to do CO2 recycling technology, maybe they could tell the global warming alarmist, propagandist liars as well about it. Doesn't make sense. And that's an exact replica. I don't even know how they got in this door, to be honest, with the
I have no idea.
Spacesuit on, but you know.
Maybe there's like real cool shit at the edge of the earth. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Maybe there's like theme parks they don't want us to know about.
So car. Go on, just flick all through these. Apparently they stretch over in hammocks. Inhumane. Go on. Yeah, go through. This is interesting. They did 7 missions to the moon. 1 crashed. You know what number it was?
It was 13, wasn't it? Because they were all done.
Apollo 13. It's funny as well because all the landing sites that they did make. So one didn't crash. He didn't get there, and they had to slingshot it, and they made a film about it. Excuse me. All
they had
the
a
landing
PS
sites
triple.
are on the near side of the moon, the light side of the moon. Again, these people don't do anything by halves. They don't miss a trick. Everything's numerology and symbology with these, but we'll come back to it in a minute. What I really want to do is talk
Look
about
at that diabolical dude.
how NASA and everything that the public has shown about outer space is completely, they are all Freemasons. It's
They're taking all the big titty
Don't
bitches?
try to hide it as well. I found this, I thought this is very interesting for people that know what obviously know about 9/11. The symbology here is phenomenal.
And how come they didn't take Dragon Lord Frodo?
You know what I mean? 9/11, right there. Okay.
Shit!
30-year anniversary, yeah, fair enough. They could have done it at 25 years, they could have done it at 40 years, but they chose 30 years, 9/11. It's also 2 years before 9/11. Quite clearly, what's the ones? Why are the L's?
He's
you know
right.
What I mean? It's just, anybody that knows will make that connection quite easily.
Yes, a bunch of fat nerds. That's
Got
classic.
your double-headed eagle, the Rothschilds, your square and compass, our men on the moon, 33-degree right, southern. Albert Pike's chapter of the Occult Brotherhood. Yeah, move on.
I want to call him David Icke with a slight change. You know what I mean? Just a slight change.
Freemasons. Move on. You can say you probably already looked all this up for yourself. Here's the crew of Apollo 13.
Uh-oh.
Look really happy.
They look like happy dudes.
Symbolism everywhere. Go on. Yeah. All of this stuff. Freely available on the internet, like I say, just in case you weren't sure about myself. Just not again hiding it. There's his big Shriner hat.
Wish I had a hat. Wish I had a fucking hat like that.
Mason ring. Keep going.
David, yike.
I don't know if you know about Jack Parsons of JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratories. He completely tied in with Aleister Crowley, who you should all know, obviously through, again, the Freemasons, the Theosophists, self-titled the wickedest man in England. He would have sex with animals, boys, all the rest of it.
Yes, clearly I meant David Bike.
If he was alive today, it's funny enough, Aleister Crowley, if he was alive today, he would be wickedly popular.
Cool dude.
He'd be
That's right, I don't have a fez.
Dude. You know what I mean?
Cool
Satanism's quite popular at the moment. The connections, you got L. Ron Hubbard with Scientology. There were, L. Ron Hubbard and Jack Parsons formed a Babylon working sex cult thing in Hollywood. And again, this is how NASA got its start. Walt Disney was also involved. We'll come back to him shortly as well. Yep. Jack Parsons at an occult ceremony. You can see the Masonic floor there. It's still going on today. It's not old. Here's the ISS doing a change of command ritual. Again,
secret handshakes, guys. Right in your fucking face, dudes.
In the ISS.
Look at that.
This is not out in space. Again, if you've watched any of the videos, they've got hooks on the back of them. They're floating like this. I don't know if you've seen the woman with the Medusa hair. That's a beauty. That, you know what I mean? It's got waving all over the place. It's stuck like that. You know what I mean? But
it's all bullshit.
Everything's connected with the occult with these guys. Yeah. Again, if you're aware of that that side of everything that's going on, you can see quite clearly how outer space, all of this connects in.
In plain sight.
Keep going. I love this. Motorcycle helmet's going to keep you safe from radiation.
What kind of crap is that?
And a shiny silver suit, John Glenn. Just brilliant. So they stopped trying to pretend that they went to the moon. They did their 7 missions, but they're 1 missing, like the number 6, don't we? So we did space shuttles then, but every space shuttle launch,
here we go.
They go up, and then they go kind of on the back and along for quite a while, and it goes out of view. And I'll look for, and again, try this for yourself if you would. Looks on YouTube for one guy, 135 missions they did, one guy that just pointed the camera out the front window and uncut and continuously saw go rise up and all the way into outer space. I mean, I don't know if they didn't go, they might have gone 400 or 500 miles up, but at least show us that every single video cuts, and it normally cuts to a piece of CGI of the satellite spinning that they've got the payload for. Well, why not just keep it going? Every single one cuts. You always have to ask yourself as well, why do all these launch stations like Cape Canaveral, Cape Kennedy and all these places, why are they all by the sea? If they're all going off the Earth up into space, why not have it in the middle of the land? What difference does it make? It's going up in it.
Yeah.
Well, the reason for that is because what they do is they go up and they go on the back and they go over out of sight and they parachute down to the sea and stay out away for 10 days, 2 weeks, or well, they go
Those
to
bastards.
the underwater film studios. They've got several different types. It's just a plane.
No
you know?
proof. Yeah, they got several different things, you know.
I was quite disappointed. I remember being disappointed because I was a sci-fi fan and all the rest of it. I was quite disappointed when they went from these rockets that, you know, these outer space rockets that could go to the moon. It's basically a plane, and it even needs some kind of jet things to get it going anyway. But again, you don't question it until, you know what I mean, until somebody, I suppose, you know,
that's right,
gives you a little shake. You just don't question it. But it's not just that we didn't go to the moon, it's that they're lying about every single thing about outer space.
Let's get to the flat Earth.
Lycra and nylon are going to keep you safe from Van Allen belts and massive solar flares and radiation, apparently. Mylar, nice reflective surface, Teflon.
But it's 21 layer.
Yeah. This is an astronaut. I want go back. Yeah. I remember we wanted to be an astronaut when you were a kid. You want to be an astronaut, you've got to know all this science, and you've got to know this thing, and you've got to be physically fit.
It's all fancy.
I don't know how many billions they're spending. I do actually. It's 17 billion a year. 17 billion.
Righteous box.
This year. You think, you know? I don't know if this guy's got like 17 more degrees than me, and he knows loads more science than me, but it just doesn't look real at all. What's that? You think they come up with something more elegant than that?
Well, it's not meant to look good.
Chuck keys, go on, keep going. Anybody seen this recently?
Oh,
Pictures
guys,
of
this is
Pluto.
going to blow your fucking mind. You watch.
That's what I mean. We've got Brian Cox now saying there might be life under Pluto. They've certainly come out with water and an atmosphere all of a sudden. I think it looks like, well, a lot of people saw it straight away.
Oh, you see that, guys? We've been tricked.
You know what I mean?
It's
Keep
Pluto.
going. Christmas bauble. This is the biggest one. It's an atlas stone. It's an atlas stone. Honestly, as soon as I kind of reposted this and said, what the hell is this?
That's what I'm saying,
People
punk
that
rock.
went to the gym said, is this some kind of observation test? It's quite clearly an atlas stone. And again, sorry about the, you know,
She was trying to fit that ball in her ass.
it's not displaying as. Can you go back? It's not displaying as good as it could. Go to the atlas stones. You can't really see the texture there, but all they've basically done is taken one of those and filtered it up and taken a picture of it and called it another planet. Keep going. Somebody's did some work on Photoshop with it. Again, you can't really see the rings here, but you can quite clearly see it's been created. Been created and pasted in. There's not been
We've been boozle bammed our whole lives.
call it probe. I don't know the name what they call it. Something satanic and Babylonian.
First one.
But the probe has not flown past Pluto and taken that picture
She's a
quite
pro.
clearly. Photoshop proves that. This is the latest Dyson.
What the hell is
No,
that?
oh, it's the latest air conditioner. It's not. Does anybody know what this is? Believe it or not, this is the
It's
the
a wiener
Kepler
worm.
telescope.
Oh.
It's the Kepler telescope. Can prove it.
I thought it was a wiener warmer. You've
Next
been
slide.
shampoozled?
That's it being built with all its gold foil and all the NASA scientists with the suits as if it's, I don't know, radioactive or something. I don't know. It's about, I suppose, about as big as a house.
It did look very similar to a head honcho.
Here's a picture of me in space.
Head honcho in space.
Again, go back. That's primary knowledge.
That's your palm.
Okay, that's some guys building a machine. We don't know whether it's going to work or anything else, but there's some guys building a machine. That's fair enough. Go forward. That's secondary knowledge. That's telling us that it's going to fly in space. But that's not actually a picture of it in space. I defy anybody
Yeah, dude. We know that's not a picture of it in space.
to find a real photo of a real satellite working in space. Yeah, we've just got the Milky. Well, I say the Milky Way, whatever the streak in the sky is.
Oh, what
bent it a bit
continent?
and obviously superimposed it.
It's
Again,
a
they're
bidet
all
from the
like
Roman
this.
Empire?
This is
So many
how
good
it
guesses.
explains how we know about all these other planets out there. It's how it detects planets. It doesn't actually see them. None of these telescopes are out in space, like actually, seeing them, with these amazing cameras and what have you. So now it works. Basically, the light from a distant star dips for a bit, or
Well, I was sold at the Pluto face,
dips
honestly.
regularly, and they measure that, and they measure the electromagnetic
Flatt
spectrum
Urf.
of it, the light spectrum of it. That's about it. Now, from that, so you're talking about numbers, yeah? We'll get a list of numbers and what have you. From that, we get pictures like this, which everybody's seen. Yep. They will then get artists to give you artist renditions. They don't hide it.
No,
again.
that's
They will
real.
never say this is a real picture of Kepler 26A or whatever. They're going to say this is an artist impression of what it would look like if we could actually see it. But we've just got basically
Guy's onto
stars
something.
twinkled a bit. Okay, and who's got a telescope? Who's an astronomer? Wicked, just one. Okay, we've actually invested in a telescope and started looking a lot more since we came across this subject. Here's a lovely picture, a lovely image of Saturn. This is what Saturn looks like, as we all know, except it's an artist rendition. This is a
What?
painting. You know it's a painting because it's actually got the names of the artists. One did the planet, one
No.
did the couple of the moons.
That's
Steve
real.
Albers did the other moons. This is what Saturn actually looks like. It's the best photographed telescope of a telescope from the ground that I could find of Saturn. So it's got ears, it's got rings, it's got.
That's an eyeball.
It's probably got moons as well, but the difference between that one and the one before is you don't know what that is. Yeah, the ancients described them as wandering stars. Yep. Here's one of Jupiter. Again, that's the painting. That's the one.
Because Dancing with the Stars is for fucking course. Thank
We
you.
all think of as Jupiter. I'll look for the best one we could find.
He doesn't like it.
From a real telescope from the ground of Jupiter, and this one from the Keck. about the best I could get, the most detailed. Again, yeah, you could probably get that our idea, our image of Jupiter from that.
Yeah,
But-
that's Jupiter.
I don't know. Is it a massive, great big gas giant planet, millions and billions of miles away? I don't know. Can't tell from
What are
that.
you trying to
Primary
say,
knowledge,
dude?
secondary knowledge. That used to be Pluto until recently.
Wait,
It's
where's the
changed a lot.
dog?
The big red eye. Because I remember, you know, remember it looking like the Death Star. You remember those things? These are all paintings. It's all paintings. It's all images. Here's the Hubble telescope. Don't know if you recognise this picture of the Earth here from the 1972 shot, and they've superimposed the Hubble on it.
All
It's
horseshit.
also looking at distant stars and galaxies for us. Yep. I like this picture of the Hubble the best because, again, click. It's on the flat Earth. It's got a flat horizon, completely flat. Yep. Does anyone know how the Hubble telescope works? I'm going to look into it, please.
It telescopes.
A little bit about it. It's got a big primary mirror. Yeah, and it catches the light, and then it goes to the secondary mirror, and then off the secondary mirror there's a little.
Boulder, you
goes
gotta
into a
lift.
little
You gotta lift
hole
the
in
veil, dude.
Primary mirror, and that's where all the really special instrumentation is that does all the thing. Is that about right? Yeah, something like that. They don't explain where the light goes from the from the hole. Yeah, because obviously there's light shining in the hole. There's got to be a hole for the second mirror to get in, but that's not the important point. When you start looking at the so-called technology, all the different instruments that are on the Hubble, it starts to sound like a science. It starts to sound like science fiction. It starts to sound like somebody who wrote for Star Trek on it. Just go through it very, very quickly. I'm not going to read it all.
That's not fun.
But
skip that.
they all do pretty much the same thing.
I want pictures.
Yeah. And it basically admits right at the end that none of them we're not actually getting an image. This is from NASA's own website.
I ain't reading
It's
that.
got all kinds of, and they sound great. The cosmic origins spectrograph. and
More
they see
UFOs
near
than
ultraviolet,
trees.
near infrared and what, but then they're studying dark energy and dark matter, which can't be seen, can it? You know.
Well, you really needed that. Right?
The ACS, which is the Advanced Camera,
thank
so it
you.
sees visible light, so it's a camera, but it's designed to study some of the earliest activity in the universe, which I'm assuming is the furthest away. So if there's a camera and it sees visible light, the normal light spectrum that we and other cameras can see, how is it supposed to see the earliest?
Next picture.
And see dark matter and the most distant objects and search for massive planets, all these things. The Space Telescope Imaging Spectrograph, it sees ultraviolet, visible and near infrared light, so it sees light basically. It's known for its ability to hunt black holes. While the COS works best with small sources of light such as stars or quasars, it can map out large objects
Quasars?
like galaxies.
You're just making
It goes
these
on
words
and on,
up.
and it's got all these special instruments, and then what we end up with is all these pictures from basically numbers.
Photoshop.
These are all artist impressions. Every single impression that you've got of a galaxy and a whole other worlds and everything else in your head have been put there by instruments that they don't add up when you start, like I say, when you start really investigating, really start questioning them. Yep. So the question is, why fake the moon landings then?
Banance lifted the veil.
A lot of people, a lot of truthers say, I realise the moon landings were faked. It's because of the Cold War with Russia. It's because of, to encourage scientists, whatever. You get all kinds of excuses, I suppose. Excuses for the rulers.
I hope he's selling a
But they're
book.
never beneficent. They're not. They don't do things for us. They do things for them.
I believe that, Roman. I believe that.
Whatever they do, whatever they announce, whatever major push they're doing, whatever they're selling through the media, it's never for our benefit, ever, ever, ever. Yeah.
San
So if
Francisco
we know
is full of fucking
never been into
quasars.
space, how can we trust any of those images of the ball Earth that they're saying that they took
You can't.
on these missions?
It's all
They're going to
malarkey.
outer space, but they're not. But they're showing us all these images. This is from Voyager, from 1977. It's apparently the Earth and the Moon in the same shot. None
You
of
know
it
he's
looks
got all
real.
that good stuff.
That got me really investigating into it. Is there any real video of the Earth spinning in space? There's a few stills. There's not as many stills as there should be.
Yeah, film this
But
shit.
there's no real video. You can find a few composites. I'm going to show one that they released this year. That'll really, if you believe anything before, you go. Hang on a minute. There's no video. You'd want to see that. The Earth's supposed to be a
Don't get the dome,
magnificent
Steve.
blue jewel in the vastness of space, and it's light lit up. It's the only one with life. Yeah, obviously, it takes 24 hours to turn. I realise you're not going to see much of it, but I'd like to see.
See, Nurky their nose.
Just for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Show us. ISS have got a live feed now.
I need more pretty pictures, dude.
Again, that's not the whole ball Earth spinning in space, really. You've never seen it. Again, investigate for yourself, because that's what really got me.
They purposely go out of the way, Ball, so it takes longer. So you think the Earth is round.
All this equipment out there, all these satellites, all these missions and probes. Why not any real video of it? People wouldn't believe me at first when I show it. How many seen this before?
That's from a PlayStation 1 game.
No one's seen it? A couple. This is, again, it's official NASA photo from 1 million miles away from Earth of the moon passing in front of the Earth. I don't know if you can see it up.
What a crock of shit.
Now, don't forget, the moon's supposed to be orbiting the Earth.
There they go.
Around it.
That's your Windows 95 screen.
But that's just all they've done is quite clearly. And they say it's a composite, I'll show you as well, and again you can investigate it yourself. It's on NASA's own website. That's just going straight across this. It's not going round the Earth, that is it. All they're doing is passing it in front of the Earth and spinning the Earth a little bit. And as
So
you said,
fake.
there's no actual movement of the clouds. Now that's 5 hours. You click it, it'll tell you.
And then anyone who doesn't believe it, Cave, you could call him crazy.
3:50 and 8:45.
Put on your tinfoil
July
hat,
the
jerk.
16th. That's 5 hours and the clouds just go. There's also a hot spot, if you notice, pretty much in the middle of the Earth. But that hot spot is not taken over by the moon when it passes in front. So if the sun's supposed to be in front, out here, isn't it? Yeah, there. That's why it's all lit up and you've got a full moon. And you've got a little hot spot here, if you can see it.
All right, dude, I believe you. I believe you, all right?
There, on the Earth.
I believe you.
The moon.
Can we move on?
That doesn't change at all. Quite clearly.
That's right, Popcorn.
You keep going on about this, to be honest, but quite clearly, this is a fake. But they're telling us that it's real. It's been released to mainstream media. Most of the world thinks.
Popcorn, what do you think about this guy?
Don't ever bring up that pussy.
This is a real image of
Popcorn.
Earth. You're mad. Shut the hell up. When you actually start examining it, you start looking at it with the open eyes that you've already got, you realise that, no, this is a fake too.
They're fucking with us, dude.
Because Earth looks different every year, to be honest. We're going to really get into that in a minute.
It might be.
Next. And again, from that 2015 image, this is a shot from, I think it's 72 again. One of the guys on the moon, there's the distant Earth. Well, if that's right, it'd be like that.
They were using wide-angle
Actually, no.
lenses.
I think. Next. It's probably more like going to be like that. It's going to be about 4 times the size as the moon appears to us in the sky, you'd expect. If you could actually stand on the moon, and I don't believe you can, I don't believe it is a rock,
Well, I've been there.
then the Earth should look 4 times as big as the moon does to us, because it's allegedly 4 times.
Yeah, Tutorial Thomas has been in space.
This is a still from the same set of images from this Discover satellite. Again, you can check this for yourself.
What a load of crap!
Well, you've got the internet. There's something very, very...
The
There's a
moon is where they keep kidnapped kids.
secret hidden in there. Does anybody know, who doesn't know who hasn't really researched into the flyer, has anybody noticed anything odd about this?
Is it the word sex?
It is indeed. It is indeed. It's right, it's
Tutorial
right out
Thomas.
there. I mean,
He's a hero, really.
before that, and we'll go into it, but where the hell's the rest of South America? Is it had a flood? Again, I'm going to show you a comparison of all the Earths well, not all the Earths, but a few of the Earths that NASA have released. And the land masses changed, the shape of the continents changed, the colour, you know what I mean? And I know, the world changes, but not this much. Although I don't think the colours are going to really bring it out. All that we've done with that 2015...
Is he going to show that picture where, like, they just copied the clouds over and over again?
picture.
That's a good one.
You turn it upside down, you can probably already see it. And it says sex.
Oh!
Well, does it... I mean, it
Wait,
says,
you saying they made the Earth say Theos? Oh, shit.
it says something, doesn't it? It's close. Go on.
It says Theos.
And again, we haven't doctored this. This is from the official image from 2015, the official released image. So
Look
you can
at
check it out for
that.
yourself. You move on, you think, well, is this, again, is it coincidence? But you see exactly the same thing from Disney.
Whoa.
Now and again, if you don't
that
know,
also says
Disney are
sales.
programming all the kids, not just Disney, obviously all the major corporations, all the major propaganda, all the major entertainment, the media, etc., etc. But that's too close, because that's done in exactly the same way. You could do a zillion different kinds of scripts, but that is written.
We're breaking
exactly
the conditioning,
same way from
guys.
The Lion King, that. And if you think again, are we seeing things that aren't really there? Click on. No. Walt Disney are doing this a hell of a lot.
Put your snatch away, Jessica. What the hell?
And again, I don't know if you can make these out.
Mickey's holding a giant blue wiener? Oh.
They're all stills from Disney films.
The titties in the background of that one movie was great. Whoever did that, what an
All
asshole.
programming.
He's pretty
All
wacky.
these are programming children. It's how we're living in a sex cult. You're going to say this Babylonian death and sex cult. And this is a big part
I wonder if that bitch in that movie who they put her titties in, I wonder if she even knows she was in that movie.
Yeah. Well, there's
Like, hey, that's me.
You can see the 6, the first 6 on the left of the W. There's another 6 where the I with the dot of the I, and then there's another 6 which is the Y. 6, 6, 6. All part of the same cult. Yeah. All programming. It's all programming on my mind. Here we go.
I'm programmed.
NASA. You spent, I don't know. You could spend quite some time going through the.
So are these slides apparently.
The
They look
knowledge for
older than
NASA.
shit.
Again, when you look into it for yourself, obviously it's all Luciferian deception. Move on. This is what I really wanted to show. Again, these are all NASA images of the place where you're supposed to live. Yeah.
I think they admit these are all fake though, dude.
The continents change every time. I try to pick
Like if you ask them, they'll say, "Yeah, they're fake images."
the ones that showed. I picked America. It could have been anywhere. It could have been the ones that all showed Africa, but America. The size of America here. Now, this is an official 2012 shot from the Kuoni satellite of Earth, and they released it. And look at the size of America. It's the biggest continent you've ever seen in your life, but it's shrunk back to normal size.
Someone's got continent envy, guys.
You got it 2015. I mean,
You
that's
saw
some serious.
testicles?
That is, if that's true, then we really have got problems. You know what I mean? We really have got climate change or environmental problems, which again I think are all made up, and I think they all tie into it. Yeah, move on.
Next.
It's not just the NASA side, the so-called news side, the education side, the official side, the sciencey side. They're getting us off.
Did people actually watch George Clooney's Solaris? Never even heard of that fucking movie.
On the other side, you're aware of obviously NASA,
Solaris.
Operation Paperclip. Not all of them went to be.
I never seen Avatar. At the time, people were like, "You got to see Avatar. It's so good," and I was like, "Man, I've never seen it."
Rocket technicians. All of this is programming as well, and I, more than anybody, as much as everybody, loves Star Wars, Star Trek, sci-fi, the idea of
Never seen Forbidden Planet.
and all the rest of it. Unfortunately, it's all again part of the programming, part of the agenda. Yeah, move on. Yeah, just flick through these. I'm sure
No, these are real NASA images. Those are real NASA images.
Sci-fi is, but it's again year after year, and it's fascinating. It's brilliant stuff. But they're not entertaining us.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
They're not entertaining us. They're not trying to inspire us. All they're trying to do, and they're not trying to fear us either. I don't think they're just trying to get us to think within this box, within this way. Obviously, that we're in this vast.
You mean he had some of Kay's baked dry pasta?
Now, how can you tell the difference? Just go back a sec.
I've seen them.
So how can you tell the difference? If they can do that, you know what I mean? I've seen spaceships flying and worlds and everything else on the screen. If they can do that, then how do you know that the next one? How do you know that the ISS and the
fucking
pictures on the
fake,
show
dude.
from that? How do we know?
Was it got a force field or something?
It's images on a telescreen. It's secondary knowledge. You haven't been up there and seen it for yourself. And you will say, well, a lot of people say, well, I've seen the curve from a plane. And again, have a look next time. I'll show you. I've got a couple of photos of that, but have a look next time for yourself. And again, it's programming. Yeah, it's pre-programmed.
Battlefield Earth.
Because again, there's supposed to be thousands and thousands of satellites up there. Some are close, some are.
Look at all those
they're all
fucking
doing
things.
all different kinds of jobs. But any time you see, go back to the ISS one again. Anytime you see a picture from us, there's never any other satellites on it. And they've started to put a few stars on now, but just a little bit of token stars. You'll never see all the constellations. That's why you never see any stars on the moon, by the way, because it would be. I would imagine it'd be a pain now, but we've got green screen techniques and everything else to get all the constellations right. So the question, they couldn't do it in 1969 or 1960.
I believe this guy. He's convinced me.
Yeah,
Starship Troopers.
that's the best photo I could find of the ISS.
That's a TIE fighter.
I can track the ISS from the app, and I look up in the sky, and the lights crossing. And they're like, well, you know, guess what? They can coordinate stuff. I don't know, by the way. I don't know if it's a hologram. Again, that's the closest.
It's a hologram, dude.
Photo I could get from a ground telescope. Doesn't look solid to me. Again, you know, it's conjecturally up in your own mind. But that, again, it doesn't. It doesn't look solid. It doesn't look like they're taking, you know, all those photos for us. Yep. Yep. More completely different images. I really wanted to add that one for the 1967 one, and again, just some mad colours.
1967 is my favourite.
Not bringing it out, but how can the Earth change that much? You know what I mean? And it goes backwards and forwards, whether it goes brighter, and then it goes duller, and then it goes brighter again, and then you know what I mean? They give us a different picture every time. But again, until you put them all together and see, because obviously you're
going to learn part
distracted and occupied the whole time anyway. So that's why people find it hard to connect the dots anyway. You know, on the regular stuff, on the false flags and the falseness of left and right politics and all the rest of it. Yeah.
Here we go.
Like I say, if we'd seen these pictures all our lives,
this will even convince partisan guys.
In these photos all our lives, it would be it would be a completely different world, to be honest. But again, it's not just the flatness of the horizon. You see that with your own eyes everywhere as well. It's also the fact that it's at eye level. Yeah, it doesn't matter how high you go or how high they say the shot's from, and when they bend it with the GoPro lenses, yeah, or whatever techniques they use, the horizon's still at eye level. If you run a ball, and next time you've got a beach ball, have a look, go from eye level and go up, and you'll see the horizon will drop. It doesn't matter how big the ball is. You can imagine the biggest ball you want, start rising up from it, yeah, and see where the horizon is eventually going to go. Yeah, it must start dropping down at some point. You'll never see that with your own eyes. Primary knowledge and secondary knowledge.
He knows his stuff.
Because that's what people say. Which I would say, you've seen the curve from a window.
I see the curve.
Plane, often mounted. But you've seen the curve in photos. But here we go. We've got one from the ISS that's supposed to be 250 miles up, and it's not curving quite as much as Felix Baumgartner's famous jump from 2012.
See?
From 24 miles up. So from 10 times higher, the curve's not quite as much. They're just manipulating the images. It's quite clear. And again, the Felix Baumgartner jump, it was a thing, you know what I mean? It was a big event. It certainly happened on social media as well. It was great. It was like, oh, he's jumping from edge of space. And all
but it was all
But
shit.
I think number one, Red Bull's just a marketing company. That's all they ever were. They're a marketing company. They don't actually do anything else. We know they make a drink, but the marketing comes first. And that whole thing was just so that we'd all look at the shots and go, yeah, it's curved here. That's how much they're investing into it. I don't even know if Felix Baumgartner's into it.
It was straight through a window, though.
Say again?
It was straight.
100%. Yeah, I might have stuck it on as well. Next. Yeah. There's a couple of different jumps, but
flat
1,000 feet, and then all of a sudden, yeah, it goes really curved. Yeah,
what?
That's the one.
They put that fake curve in.
Straight line.
Fisheye
just about
lenses.
to jump out. This is the big famous one. So there's 128,000, just about to jump out. There we go, outside. Curve. And we'll put the ISS in again. Again, all they're doing is just bending that thing, and it's programming. Yep, hang on. Does anybody know what the equation for the curvature of the Earth is? We all live on a curved Earth. Yeah. All these professions.
Oh shit.
Yeah. If you're a sailor or a pilot or if you're firing a gun, didn't Russia fire some missiles 1,000 kilometres to hit ISIS targets the other day or something? So they tell us, you know what I mean, in the news. But if you're on a ball and you're firing something 1,000 metres, that is going to drop away quite a bit. Yeah, if you're just aiming like that, you're going to miss your target. Not just them architects and engineers. All kinds of different professions must know what this calculation is, because they must have to use it on a daily basis.
It's
should
15
be like I say,
plus
E
62.
E equals MC squared. Now, I don't use it, and you don't use it for most days. We're not, astrophysicists or what have you. Some people might. But we all know that equals
Earths have curves.
for science. But why isn't the curve of the Earth? Oh, everybody knows the curve of the Earth is such and such, and that's why you can't see buildings from such and such. We've never ever thought about it before. All we've been told again is
That's right on
it's just
conventional
massive.
wisdom.
It's a massive place, you'll never see the curve. But there must be, doesn't matter how big you think it is, it's a ball, according to our common belief. So there must be some curvature. Okay, even if we can't see it, that's fair enough.
All right, dude, curvature, come on.
How far can I see out? Before it drops.
This guy should work at NASA.
But it's not common knowledge. It's not something we're all taught. It's not something, so far as I know, engineers or any of these other professions are taught. Does anybody know what the again, like, unless you've actually looked into the flat Earth?
Is it 8 inches per mile squared?
Yeah. Was anybody else aware of that? Yeah. Okay. Apart from unless it's funny how people who look into the flat Earth know quite a lot about the measurements of the globe. I know the circumference of the Earth. I know the radius of the Earth. I don't believe it's a ball, but I know all the supposed measurements.
It's a square.
Do you want to find out about all the physics in the globe? Ask the flat Earth. Yeah. I've gone through them all. Yeah.
Yeah.
8 inches per mile distance squared. Now, a lot of people have argued with me online saying, no, it's just 8 inches per mile. And they do this on Google, by the way. If you Google curvature of the Earth, it will say 8 inches per mile. Yeah, on Wikipedia, in the first few, you can dig down. I think the second page, you start going to 8 inches per mile of distance squared. If it's 8 inches per every mile, it'd just be it'd just be a gentle slope. It'd just be a gentle slope, 8 inches every mile. I actually worked it out for 3,959 miles for the full radius.
So many jokes you could do with gentle slope.
8 inches every mile, your drop is half a mile. But people will argue till they're blue in the face because they don't want to let the concept go that they've been taught all their lives. Yeah, at the end of the day, if they're saying that the radius is 3,959 miles, yeah, and through AutoCAD using, through Pythagorean trigonometry using the AutoCAD to however
He's figured it out, guys.
precision, what have you.
So why is this
It's
wrong?
8 inches per mile of distance squared. So the first mile, you're only going to see, you only have 8 inches of drop. That's fair enough.
Gentle slope.
Second mile, you square it, so it's 4 miles times 8 inches is 32 inches. So it's only a couple of feet, 2.5 feet. Again, you're not going to see that much. But when you start getting to 20 miles and 30 miles, 40 miles, 50 miles, well within the distance of regular human eyesight without telescope, yeah, you're starting to talk about 6, 7, 1,000 feet drops. So it should be according to if we lived on a ball. And you're not seeing it. And this is probably the biggest clue, or one of the biggest clues, because again, it's primary knowledge. It's your own sensory knowledge. You can go anywhere in the country or anywhere in the world and do this. And we've got some examples coming up anyway. But see a long distance where things should have dropped over the horizon, and they're quite clearly not yet.
NASA's stupid too. They put out all these fake photoshopped pictures, and they admit they're fake in Photoshop. And then it sets these guys off going crazy. The Earth's flat.
Well, famous Semiramis statue of slavery, because they do things in reverse, the Satanists. 326 feet above sea level can be seen from 60 miles away. 60 times 60 times 8 inches works out to 2,000 feet below their eye. If you're 60 miles away, it should be 2,000 feet below. You shouldn't be able to see it from 60 miles away. Now, as it happens, actually, this is secondary knowledge. I haven't seen that for myself.
Maybe a little.
Again, you'll be able to do this with your own eyes, with your own experience, in your favourite places, favourite flat places of water. Yeah. Notre Dame, Antwerp in Brussels can be apparently seen from 150 miles away.
Maybe he's a flat earther.
2.8 miles below the horizon. It should be from there. Again, apparently it's both ways around, so you can see. Apparently, you can see out to sea from the spire, but ship's captains can see the spire from all that far away. Again, that's secondary knowledge, but there's a lot more examples of this. This is one of the most famous ones within the flat Earth community. What? It's a picture of Chicago. Sears Tower, although I'll say in another slide, it's only 1,400 feet high. We'll give the globe Earth some slack and say I believe it's 1,800 feet, or it's 1,800 feet above sea level. Right. Now, this picture was so it's so damning for the globe Earth that mainstream media in America thought fit to do a little piece on it. Saying this photo has been taken by Joshua Nuki.
The Flat
all
Urf
the
is
way
real.
from, I can't remember, it'll come up in a sec, but it's 60 miles away from Chicago. To be honest with you, we should only see like the very top, maybe the very top of the Sears Tower.
Maybe he was really tall.
Actually, explain that. I took a Google image. To be honest with you, from here, I'm going to show you a few images now from all around this coast.
I can't see
across Lake
nothing.
Michigan. Yeah, from here to here is 37 miles. Yeah,
It just looks like a blue screen.
It's going to get more and more and more and more. I've got another
What kind of
map up.
shitty ass projector
There's
you
about 5 or
got?
6 photos I'm going to show you now. All the way around here. St. George's the biggest one. It's 59, 60 miles away, right across the bay, and that's flat. Yeah, that's flat sea level. Okay, it's going to be choppy and wavy and all the rest of it, which is one of the reasons why you can't see the buildings, but they're all different. They worked out nicely for me here. Should be 2,300 feet below sea level. So that Sears Tower is 1,800 feet high. It should be 500 feet below the horizon from 60 miles away.
There you go.
They say it's a mirage. They said it's a superior mirage. So I went looking at what a superior mirage is. These things do exist, but it is actually a mirage. It looks like a mirage. It's wavy and it's, you know what I mean? It doesn't look right. And you can tell it's not a one-off because I went looking for more photos of Chicago from different places. Just flick through them. From Stevensville, you see virtually all the skyline there.
How do you see that?
It's not a one-off. Lots and lots of times people have photoed Chicago from right across the
That's
bay.
as close as you'd want to get to Chicago. I'll just take a picture of Chicago over there.
It shouldn't be possible. 37 miles is 900 feet, so you should see half of the Sears Tower and probably not much else of the Chicago skyline. It's not the only place in the world. Go on, keep going. Yeah, keep going. It's more proof, more proof, more proof.
So much proof.
Do you know in Italy, 81 miles from the Isle of Gorgona, so it stands 70 feet above sea level. I've not even worked it out, to be honest, but you can if you want yourself. All you do is take the miles and square it. 80 times 80 times 8 inches. Yeah, and that's how many inches it should be below, and then you obviously divide it by 12 for feet and yards and miles and what have you.
Built a mini city on a
Should be able to
frisbee.
see it. Some closer to home now as well. The Isle of Man from the Fylde coast.
What now?
Again, there's 3 or 4 different sources here, and it says you can only see it 3 or 4 times a year. Yeah, but you can see it, and again, it's, what does it say? What does it say on there? 61 miles. 61 miles away. Again, that's 1,600 feet. It's nearly a mile, I think. Should be a mile below the horizon. Yeah. Again, I put a nice little Google map on for you, but you can check it out for yourselves. Yeah. From Cleveland.
Isle of Man. I bet it's full of quasars.
Completely different shot, completely different photo source. From Visit Cleveland again, a couple more different photos. Isle of Man across the bay. You know, it's the Irish Sea. You know, shouldn't be able to see it if the globe was curved. Oh, yep. Yep. See it from the North Wales coast as well, all the way from Llandudno, 75 miles away. Yeah, somebody else's photo. Google. There was a time when I thought,
You don't trust NASA, but you trust Google?
Google
I mean, I don't trust either of them.
Oh
no!
Library.
I
Right.
fixed it.
Okay,
All of
so
those library things.
I binged.
I binged.
Boom!
If this bald-headed cockfaggot is so smart, why can't he figure out why kids love the taste of Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
Or why does Apple Jacks taste like apples? Maybe he'll do a presentation on that.
This is the 1984, the Winston Smith, the rewriting.
That's a very good question.
Fiction and history that the war was
right,
about. It's
asking
going to be
the real
online. It's going to be virtual. We know they're going paperless, and there's this move to do it. There'll be another generation, but there'll be no paper. Everything will be digital. All information will be controlled. You won't be able to get these kind of photos on the imagine anymore, especially if more people become aware of it. Yep. Showing you this one from 1946, first rocket up into space. Yep.
It's flat, dude.
There's a big one.
Oh, shit!
Griffin Street.
Can water be bent into the shape of a ball? I submit to you, No! Have you ever seen this with your own eyes?
Primary knowledge and secondary knowledge.
Only when Cobb's done chi balls. That's the only time I've seen it.
Again, we've seen all these photos of the ball Earth for our eyes, but they've got these big Pacific Oceans and Indian Oceans and
circus
Atlantic
peanuts.
Oceans, which must
What?
kind of bend round. Oh, well, gravity does it, but I don't want to get into that. At the end of the day, have you ever seen water with your own eyes bend into the shape of the ball? It doesn't do it. It does this. Long, big, flat stretches. Yeah, it gets wavy and choppy, but it's just long stretches of big, flat water. Yeah? Yeah, that's what water does. It doesn't bend into the shape of a ball. And again,
That's
you can
not a ball to
well,
me.
It's huge and what have you. 120 miles long, the Suez Canal, no locks at all. No drops.
What if
Yeah.
you poured the water in a ball-shaped container? Now what? It's bent.
We'll leave it there. We'll have a break. I wanted to mention just the
Whoa,
the Nile
is the
as
sun
well.
right above the clouds? I think it is.
Goes for 4,300 miles. It drops about 100 miles over that course. It's virtually, it virtually goes the whole radius of the Earth and then drops 100 miles from mouth to elevation.
Why are you
So
getting
many clues.
tear-gassed?
We'll take a break there for however long, 5, 10, 15 minutes. On a break.
Are you fighting the man, Lehigh?
We're now talking about the non-curvature of water. You never see it bend into a ball with your own eyes, with your own experience. You've never seen it do that. And we've got, again, serious proof. 120 miles. Again, you can work it out for yourself.
Yeah,
Should be
what
some
now?
serious curvature. No locks, just flat. Like I said, the Nile's the same as well. Some people think this is the sea. So, well, it's just the sun reflecting on the sea. Now, the sun doesn't reflect on the sea like that anyway, does it? Got another picture coming up. There's a heat spot, there's a hot spot of reflection of the sun on the clouds. You can't quite see it on this thing, but there's a video of it. There's videos of it on YouTube. If you look up most of the Flat Earth, 3 examples is a good one. I'll no curvature on Flat Earth, but you'll see this video. And the whole thing bobs up and down. You can see obviously the horizon's flat there as well, by the way. The whole thing bobs up and down. But if the sun was 93 million miles away, it wouldn't be bobbing up and down with the Earth. It'd be fixed. Now, obviously, I can't show you the video. You have to go and look for
I
yourself.
think so, Laughing Vampire.
But again, another serious clue from real
The
evidence.
sun's fake too?
From somebody set up. It's an amateur. It's
Man,
not
what
NASA,
is real?
It's not field. It's not anything else. Some kids who set up a weather balloon with cameras.
Is Popcorn Willie real?
GPS, etc., etc., sent the signal back, and this is what it said. But see for
Is Cinnamon
yourself
Toast Crunch real?
and see if you think the sun is 93 million miles away, as we've all been taught, as every school kid knows, as sounds absolutely mad to say. Doesn't look 93 million miles away there to me. You haven't seen a video for yourself, obviously. I've just got stills.
It's right there. You could touch it.
We've gone the right way. Now, I've seen the sun look massive on the horizon.
That looks
Here's
like something that would happen on the Isle of Quasar.
Time lapse for yourself. It shows it half the size at the zenith. Obviously, forget the
No punk rock. It's not.
obviously the 3 shiny ones.
Oh,
But you
you're
can see
real? Okay,
The sun
good,
does
good.
get bigger, and then as it gets nearer, then moves further away. I've also seen, like I say, I've seen massive moons on the horizon. I don't know. This is one you can't tell because of atmosphere, perspective, refraction. But again, people that say, why do you never see it small on the horizon? If it's just coming towards us or coming past us, or
Yeah, you
it's
stupid
another
quasar.
model, basically we're not moving, it is, then how come you never see it, small on the horizon? There's proof that you do. Here's something you never see.
Uh-oh.
Whenever you see the sun reflecting on water, the reflection is all the way to the edge of the water. If you stand at the edge of the water, it always comes all the way. Now, I don't know if anybody's ever seen or been aware of this phenomenon,
Watch
where
this.
you're standing on the beach and you see and the sun's going down, and as it goes down, the reflection recedes across the water. Have you ever seen that phenomenon? Is that a thing? I've never seen it. It just kind of
Proof.
there, and then when the sun's not there, it's gone.
Pick up
Now
your
again,
own
think
shit.
about it. If you're on a ball, and obviously you're spinning, but basically the light of the sun is receding away as it's kind of going over the horizon, and that's exactly what should happen. That beam of light, that reflection of the sun, should recede away from it. If it was miles in the distance and we're slowly spinning away from it, should disappear, and that would
He's
be
right.
a nice Earth phenomenon like a rainbow or the Northern Lights. It doesn't do that. It can only do that from above if the sun's directly.
Okay, so
it can only do that kind of reflection on water.
I've been.
Oteo, you're the biggest quasar.
That is the biggest quasar, followed closely by Chris. Oteo.
I've seen the curve of the Earth when I've been on a plane out of the window. I tell you now, you haven't. You've
Poor
been
little guys
pre-programmed
getting all
to think
cooked
that.
and shit.
There's a photo to prove it. Again, that's what you actually see. But look for yourself. Again, look for yourself. Next time you go on a plane.
Yeah, where's the curve?
You know, once it reaches its cruising altitude, 35,000, 37,000 feet, it's about 7 miles. They only go about 7 miles up planes. So you're not. And people say, well, you're not. Then they reverse it and say, well, you're not going to see the curve from that high up anymore, from that low altitude. Ayers Rock.
That's not a real picture.
Massive flat horizon. Ayers Rock's 15 miles long. I've no idea how far that makes it in the distance.
That's Tammy sleeping on the couch.
No curve. The moon's a really interesting one. I don't get into it here. Again, the moon, you see a light in the sky. You can go back to the moon landings with this. How it, I'm not going to go into it. It's only a few minutes. It glows. It glows in the dark. That's our experience. We see
Yeah,
it glow
what
in the
now?
dark, has different
The moon
phases.
makes its own light.
But again, all those shots of the moon from the moon with running about, just
Chili
double
con
speed them by the way,
quasar?
you see them just running about. But they're all grey. They're all grey dust. It's not glow. Rocks don't glow
Hey,
like that. You got
stop
the white
being so
crusted
animated,
over,
little fella.
It's about the brightest you can see in bright sunlight.
do you have a license to be that animated?
But it doesn't glow in the don't glow in the dark. And like I say again, the sun
Quasar
that's lit
Diller?
up by the sun, millions of miles away. But there's no hot spot on it. It's always evenly lit. Yeah. I haven't got the
How
pictures.
bad is that projector when you can't see that moon on it? You can't see the moon on the projector.
Actually, because like I said, the moon's a whole other. You could do a whole talk.
It does hit
of ours just on the moon.
That has nothing to do with the sun, though.
The other thing I say really is again, use your own senses. When you see the crescent, up to about the crescent, between the crescent and the half moon, especially as the sun's setting, check to see. If you've ever played pool, you should know your angles. Yeah, when the white ball comes off, you know what angle it's supposed to be. So check the angle of the moon as the sun's setting. I think it's about 10-20% degree off. When you actually start watching it for yourself, noticing the sky. Obviously, got to be a clear sky. We don't get many of them with the geoengineering nowadays.
So true, the chemtrails.
Tilt of the Earth is 23.4 degrees according to Wikipedia, the official rulers.
They had PS5s at the
Coincidence
ice
that
balls?
to carry on to the
No wonder they
vertical,
don't want
it's
us to go there.
66.6 degrees. Coincidence that
They
the
won't
moon,
overheat on the ice wall.
rotation on its own axis is the same as its orbit on Earth, so we always see the same side of the moon. Solar eclipse that the moon's 400 times smaller, but the sun's 400 times bigger. It just so happens that Earth's in the Goldilocks zone for life and everything, all the wonderful life that we see. But it's only important amongst all the
And where does the psychic Nazi vampires fit into this?
millions of planets. That's why we're spending billions to look.
You know they're there
elsewhere.
somewhere.
It's got all the right elements for life. Polaris is one of the biggest ones as well. Everybody knows about the North Star. It stays above the North Pole, virtually above the North Pole, night after night, year after year. Sailors quite famously guide and navigate by it. But if you think about it again, we're on supposedly, we're all taught we're on a ball Earth, it's spinning around at 1,000 miles an hour, 24,000 miles circumference, 24 hours in a day. It's going around the sun at 67,000 miles
I
an
just
hour.
waiting for him to sell some.
The
book
sun's
or
going around the
something.
galaxy at 500,000 miles an hour, and the galaxy is supposed to be splitting apart from the Big Bang at 670 million miles an hour, something ridiculous. Check again, NASA, for yourself. The numbers are astronomical. So all these galaxies are flying apart, and the Earth's spinning around and wobbling around and all the rest of it. Yet, from 24 trillion miles away, the North Star, Polaris, still tracks the Earth. No
Yeah,
matter
what now, guys?
And in fact, they all do. All the constellations, they stay in constant relation night after night, year after year. Yeah, they spin about and all the rest of it. But there's no parallax, there's no movement with the stars
Just dork.
at all. Coincidence.
It might be Cyrex's dad.
Coincidence. All the time, coincidences. I mentioned this before
Uranus
about all the
robots.
moon landings.
Don't bust
They're all on the
Uranus.
same side of the moon. There were 7 missions. One failed, number 13.
Oh, come on, you can't go back to this.
Freemasonry, occult, your symbology, numerology, all of that kind of stuff. It all fits in with this. This is what I think this kind of thing is where
scientism,
people get really
guys,
crazy, because they might have studied science and it works. They might do it for a job. They might spend the whole life doing it. It's one of the reasons why people can't accept truth, whether it's this crazy subject or whether it's just false flags. Just false
fuck
flags,
you.
Vaccinations, GMOs, and all the rest of it. They generally spend their lifetime investing in it, whether it's studying it or whether it's their whole life and career and profession.
Even Isaac Newton?
Oh yeah, I was duped.
A Freemason?
I'm really clever, but I was duped. You know what I mean? A lot of people won't do it, and I think I think the rulers do it. I never knew Isaac Mason. To be honest with you, there's no actual direct link with him being a Freemason, and I did look. There's a Freemason Masonic lodge named after him. So that normally gives a guide. He was certainly an alchemist. Yeah. Which today, if you say in science I'm an alchemist, they say, okay, you're a quack. Okay.
Isaac Fruit.
You're trying to turn lead into gold, etc., etc.
It's scientism.
Not what I really want to get into, but again,
it's what they feed us rubes while they know the true shit about reptilians and flying saucers that hang out in trees and shit.
Newton wrote Newton's Principia, the mass that so-called explained gravity. It's 3 times as big as the Bible, and it starts with the word if the earth is a ball. Same as famously Eratosthenes, the Greek guy who measured the curvature of the earth. Again, you got to assume that the sun's millions of miles away and the earth's curved in the first place to come up with that result. All of it is connected. Another great hero of the 20th
Look at that
century,
jerk.
Einstein. Yeah, Einstein. It's like April Fools. It's a common phrase. Einstein depicts somebody being clever, or obviously if you're being sarcastic, yeah, nice one, Einstein. It's an icon. They made him an icon. This is his Jesuit handler, Lemaitre. Again, I'm not going to get into it. You could do a whole 2 hours on Einstein and the fraud of Einstein.
I've seen Popcorn Willie's Jesuit handler. The guy looks like he doesn't fuck around.
All of his ideas from other scientists that came before him, Lorentz, Poincaré, Maxwell, could go on and on. Again, research for yourself. All of these heroes. We don't expect it with science. We've seen it with politics. We've seen it with historical figures. We know World War II and all the rest of it, but we don't expect it with the sciences, because isn't science, evidence-based? Isn't it observation? Isn't it the primary evidence that we were talking about before? But unfortunately, again, there's 2 sciences. There's your experimental science that we know about, and then
I know people have said Einstein was a plagiarist for years.
So there's experimental science, which is
what
we expect as science, what we all did in chemistry classes and what have you in school. You do something, you observe the results. But everything's theoretical science now. After Einstein, everything after Einstein. And Einstein came along just after.
But just because Einstein was a scumbag doesn't mean the Earth's flat.
Something called the Michelson-Morley experiment, which I may or may not mention shortly. Again, look it up for yourself. They don't do things by half. It's like that, guys. How suddenly NASA in the news every week, because people are starting to twig onto this. This has become quite a big thing on social media.
Actually, Einstein plagiarized off Popcorn Willie.
So again, at the end of the 19th century, people were doing real experiments and finding these results. But they've got the means of they own the presses. Just like today, they own all the media. So they control the means of information, they control what people think, and they also control the education system. Because every textbook that we ever read was published by a big publishing house. Who owns those? Who says which writers get to get published or not? Really got published. Fantastic. Why? What you're writing about? Climate change. Okay. So it's everything's corrupt, as we know. Newton, Kepler, symbolism. Yeah, I wouldn't be photographed with a pair of compasses or on a checkered floor or with 666.
Bitches love compasses. He don't get it, guys.
Because I know what the symbolism means, and I don't want to be associated with that cult. Yeah, and I'm sure you're all the same. So you don't have a portrait taken. I'm going to come to Copernicus, because he's the main guy. He's the one that
Brazilians don't even exist.
Heliocentric idea. Right, to be honest with you, the history of geocentrism and heliocentrism, or flat Earth v globe Earth, it's one of those. The ancient Babylonians were all flat Earthers. They knew the Earth was fixed because again they stood there and then everything. They believed their own senses. They didn't have propaganda program to convince them that their senses were wrong and the opposite was true. I'm going to come to Copernicus.
The bitches love the compasses
because he's the one that really started off the revolution. In fact, it's called On the Revolutions of the Spheres. And,
he's a very prolific guy, Evil Betty.
The big connection. Who's read some of the Gnostic stuff, the Hermetica? You come across that in your research? Anybody come across that?
That's right.
Hermes Trismegistus, the Kybalion, any of those?
That's
any of
what
that
I'm
stuff?
saying.
Yeah, the Gnostic teachings.
And I'm on the fence about Australians. I think they exist,
It's
but
all
no one
connected.
really knows.
And like I say, these guys work by symbols. Again,
That's
you see,
right.
Washington DC, Rome, in London, there are big obelisks everywhere. There's domes everywhere. There's all-seeing eyes.
Look at your
There's
dome.
sun symbolism. It's everywhere. We are living in a global cult. Science is a big part of it. A big part of this, what I really want to say about Copernicus and his revolutionary
Yeah, fuck you, Copernicus.
tract in
Thank
the
Terminus
16th century is that there was no science involved with it. He got it from the Hermetica. He got it from Hermes Trismegistus. This is the famous tract that's translated here. I'll read it out to you. In the middle of all, sits the sun enthroned in this most beautiful temple.
Thurman is real, but he comes out. He comes from beyond the edges of the flat Earth.
Could we place this
He's an outlander.
in any better position from which he can illuminate the whole at once? He is rightly called the lamp, the mind, the ruler of the universe. Hermes Trismegistus names him the visible god. Sophocles Electra calls him the all-seeing. So the sun sits as upon a royal throne, ruling his children, the planets which circle around him. That's sun worship.
Pernaquasar.
Sun worship, it's Babylonian, sun, fire, Lucifer worship, the light bearer, the light bringer. Yeah, it's all connected. You see how I don't know what it is. He's supposed to be holding. I just looked at it, I saw it, and I immediately saw all the symbolism.
Puss.
Mercury. I mean, do you know about? Again, I don't think you'll have missed this statue being unveiled in America. The statue of Baphomet with the two kids. I mean, statue of Satan, basically. Yeah, Satanism's
Thurman
fine.
has played the PS5 on the ice walls.
No problem. Again, we know about it. The Illuminati is kind of a. It's not a secret anymore. They've got it at the
yeah, the
big
devil
music
wants you to
awards.
think the
I can't
Earth's
remember what
flat
they
for
call
some
them. I pay
reason.
that little attention to them. But
Or
it's all
I should say.
pawns and Satan worship, and they're not even hiding it anymore. They're really not. But in terms of the world that we inhabit, or that we think we inhabit, and the image that we have in our heads
Peter
of being on a
Gazer?
ball Earth in a vast universe,
Some harsh
and what's going to happen
allegations.
next, and maybe we're going to ruin this planet, maybe we'll have to find another one, and all the rest of it. All of that is just image in your head. You need to get rid of that secondary knowledge because, well, it's come from these guys.
Yeah, I
And
wanted
these guys
to see,
sacrifice
like,
children,
proof.
and they have done since Babylonian times, and it's all part of the
These
same thing.
presentation guys, they're always all over the map. Like, the shit I used to see on Flat Earth would be like a guy sitting in the back of his car throwing a ball while they were sitting in the back seat of a car while he was driving, throwing a ball and saying, "Hey, how come the ball doesn't go flying out the back window?" Like that kind of goofy Flat Earth shit.
Completely connected.
Peter
The Book of
Quasar.
Thoth is Hermes Trismegistus is another name for Thoth, which is another name for Mercury, by the way. All the gods, they're all connected. Yeah, and it doesn't matter if it's Greek, Roman, Babylonian, they're all connected. They're all basically the same. It all comes down to the same guy. But again, you can check it out for yourself, all the symbolism, and it does go to masonry as well. This sounds like the same thing. This is from Albert Pike's book. His power was symbolised by an eye over a sceptre. The sun was turned by the Greeks, the eye of Jupiter, to the eye of the world. His all-seeing eye now lodges.
Dude, I just signed up for the Flat Earth, dude. I just signed up for the Flat Earth, not Illuminati shit.
He invokes as the god that resides in the sun and is enveloped by his rays. La 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 la. It's devil worship. It's sun worship. It's all we're doing.
I didn't sign up for
It's all
this
we're doing
cult,
by
dude.
putting the sun. The sun's at the centre, and we're just irrelevant moving around it. Even now that
Yeah, the post experiment. That's another good one.
Otherwise, there won't be a gentle breeze just going just going past. You won't have a gentle. In fact, if airplanes fly at 500 miles an hour,
Here we go.
and the planet's spinning with its atmosphere, because that's why you don't feel it.
Listen to
At
this.
1,000 miles an hour. How would a plane ever go against the spin? They'd only have to go one way. They'd only be able to go one way. Go on
See
and
what
on
that
about
dummy said? How come how could it keep up with the spin of the Earth, the plane?
like I say, the ball. But what I'm more interested in is what's really going on and how it
It's
connects.
all over your house to soak up negativity.
How the flat Earth connects through everything we do. How many knew or recognised or were aware of the Jesuit sun symbol above the door of number 10
Fucking
Downing
Jesuits.
Street? It's the same as the
I
Columbia.
fucking hate you, Jesuits.
The NBC symbol. Yeah, it's everywhere. And you know, I posted this, and a few people say, "Oh, the island's not got one, or this one's not got one." It takes me a couple of minutes to have a look through and find that the islands is the green sun, right? They've used it. They might not use it for the main flag. They might use it for the military. They might use it for their armed forces or whatever. But it's all the same. They're all part of it. We know about the New World Order. We
Yes,
know
the
that
sun is like a big floating red
all countries are in
glowing
on
dinner
it.
plate.
There's no good guys and bad guys when it comes to rulers. There's rulers and the rest of us. But it's this religious aspect that, it's like I say, it's weird because it comes from science, or it seems to come from science.
I just like that this guy thinks like if you fly a plane far enough in the air, just turn off the engines and just glide with the planet turning. We don't even have to do anything.
They say
Just
this
let
is
the
evidence
Earth
and
move
facts
at
and what have
500
you.
miles an hour.
But it's actually religious. It's religious worship, and we don't know it. Yeah, you never know you're in a cult until you actually
Once we get up to 30,000 feet, we just turn everything off.
believe it.
It's
And we
like
always
putting
think
plane in
about
neutral, exactly.
I don't know, the Moonies, the David Koresh, you know, or even you think about it, or you used to think about Islamic extremists. We know that, you know, they're basically CIA mercenaries and what have you now. But that these people are being brainwashed.
Quite a street
But the
name.
problem is when the majority of us, when it's 99% of us, and we're all brainwashed into a cult, then how are you going to know that anything's different? You're not going to notice that. Oh, it's just a flag. Oh, it's just a flag. It's just a flag, just symbols. But these guys, and you know, the Pope right there, sun
Fuck you,
symbolism.
Pope.
It's all connected.
Why don't you suck some more Hyagr toes, Pope?
Good old Nazis, cult of Ra, Baal, and the Jesuits. And the Jesuits control all the secret societies. Going back to science just for a minute, to say about the Michelson-Morley experiment.
Einstein's
talk
on
about
it.
gravity.
They're all
Think
in
about
on it.
gravity. Everybody knows kind of gravity keeps you on the floor, but it also keeps us in
Man, it looks
orbit.
like a 1996 website.
Keeps the moon in orbit,
He
and it
slides.
moves the tides. It does all these magical things. Nobody's ever explained it. Nobody's ever proved it. And if you think about it, if we're not on a spinning ball in a vast universe, and we're on just a big, massive fixed plane, and we've got heavenly bodies, you don't need gravity. You don't need gravity to explain anything. You only need it to explain why water curves onto a big ball and doesn't fly off like it does on a wet tennis ball. I need gravity.
He's got a
for
point.
that. I like about the moon, and I know it's only 240,000 miles away from us, going round, and we're 93 million miles away from the sun, but we're kept in orbit to the sun by its gravity. But at some point, surely the moon
That's right.
goes even nearer to the sun. So why doesn't the moon go over there? Why is it attracted to our gravity and not the sun's gravity? I'll tell you why. Because the image that we have in our head is false. It was given to us by
All right, so what's out there, then?
programming and indoctrination. Okay,
How come the moon doesn't get sucked into the sun?
I like this one as well. Again, if you work it out, you have to kind of do the model for yourself. But if you're in, we're going allegedly going around
A guy in the white hat is very disappointed right now.
the sun.
I didn't sign up for this.
So here's you in New York in June. Now every 24 hours you're going to do almost a complete rotation. You know, it's 23 hours, 56 minutes, and this, that, and the other. Okay, again, so it tells. That's the
All
rotation
right.
of the
Move
moon.
on.
But you're not going to be, after 6 months, completely. Your time is not going to. That would be in the dark. Yeah. 24 hours. You're still going to be facing the
I
same
just need
way
to go
at
out.
the same
I need to
time.
go into space and see it myself. You know what I mean?
24 hours later.
I'm gonna start
it's not
building a
gonna be
spaceship.
nighttime, is it? Yeah. I don't know if you follow me. So that might need a little bit more explanation. There's you in New York. And obviously, it's going to rotate, and you're going to get however many hours a day and night. But 24 hours.
Like even if it was flat, who cares? You know what I mean?
You'll have
Who
moved on a
cares?
little bit. But at 1 o'clock, it's still going to be daytime. You're not going to be in the night. That's
That is
just
true.
The next day. 1 o'clock. You say it might change a couple of minutes. By the time you've got all the way over here, yeah, if we're on the other side of the sun, we're going to be in the dark at 1 o'clock.
That's right, crazy.
The hours don't change every
Forever.
12 hours. It's a little bit. You have to.
The white
you have to
man's
think
boot
about-
on our neck.
Think about that one. It's not something I can. You need to spend a little time thinking about it. But where, again, if we're on a rotating Earth, 24 hours, every 24 hours it rotates and it moves a little bit.
You
around the
mean if
sun.
we find out the Earth is flat, I don't have to pay my bills anymore? Nah, you still got to pay. Oh, who cares then?
But by the time you're over there, you've not lost 12 hours, so that you're in the darkness. I'll explain that a little bit better next time. But again, have a look for yourself. There's some videos on YouTube. You can have a look at that. But again, a nice is when you get your head around it, it's quite clear to see that. You know, you're not going to have darkness at 1 o'clock. That's just, you know, it's just a ludicrous thing to say. Again, you start off with what we know from our senses, from our own experience, and then what can we definitely deduce from there?
Right.
Aries
Nothing.
failure.
If we found out the Earth was flat tomorrow, nothing changes.
Again, a very famous experiment. Airy was a royal astronomer royal in the 19th century. He put water in a telescope which slows the light down, and he basically wanted to see. It came as a failure, as a null experiment, because he basically got the result like Michelson Morley, that the Earth can't be spinning, it must be the stars that are moving, because the light from the stars was slowed down.
All
so you'd
right,
have to
dude,
tilt
come
the
on.
telescope slightly. Again, look into it for yourself. You'd have to tilt the telescope
Of course
slightly.
you're drinking.
If the Earth was moving and the stars were fixed, the telescope would have to be tilted slightly as the Earth moves every few minutes. But as he didn't have to tilt the telescope at all, the starlights still came straight in. It must be
Yeah,
the
and what's
stars
outside the flat Earth?
that were moving.
Is it a
not
Jambos?
the Earth.
What-
Again,
what do
it's
we
a scientific
expect?
experiment at the end of the 19th century. None of that gets done anymore. You won't get you won't get grants for it. But Fred Hoyle himself, he said that the difference between heliocentrism and geocentrism is one of relative motion. We can't tell. Again, our own experience. We stand on a flat Earth and we see the sun go overhead every day, and we see the moon sometimes. Again, depending how clear it is, and then we see the stars. Not much in the city. But we're told that we're
don't know what
moving,
he's talking about.
You know, most of those
He's
are
been
still.
drinking.
And that's fair
He's been
enough.
drinking again.
So we go, okay, that's fine. But there's no actual. The maths works the same for both ways.
Because that's where the aliens
Antarctica is
live.
really worth looking into. It's got huge potential. This world is run by greedy. It runs on greed.
Oh, now we're
and
talking about
sex.
greed now? Come on, dude.
And all the worldly desires and temptations.
I just
that,
wanted the
they can
post
offer us
experiment,
to
like Negative
basically buy
YouTube
us
said.
and by politicians, and you know all the
I
rest
wanted
of
I
it.
wanted the guy talking about the dude who went down a river and kept checking shit and see if it
Got
if
massive
it went
resources
down.
in Antarctic, huge amounts of coal and oil.
If
It'd make everything really
how
cheap.
far you could see going down the river. I forget.
You're
what
not
it
allowed
was.
to
It
go
was a
there. You're
long
not allowed
time
to drill.
ago.
58 countries have.
Greed made the earth round.
I'm not sure how many countries. I do apologise. They signed it in 1958. There's a treaty. There's an Antarctic treaty that you can't. No corporation, no big company that basically run the world. They can't go.
Hillary
and drill
Clinton
there
gets to go to
oil or whatever.
Antarctica.
Vast mineral resources. Yeah, they're not allowed to go. Is there any other treaty that stood that length of time? Why the Antarctica? Again, we previously thought of it, this little bottom bit of the.
Yeah,
what's the big deal with it?
Didn't he die in spectacular fashion?
Pole.
He died during one of his flights.
Why is it so off limit? And again,
Well, he tried at least.
I don't really cover it now.
You know,
Because
to be fair to that guy, he said, "You know what? I think the Earth's flat. I'm going to see it for myself. Fuck these guys. Too bad he died. He tried.
I've covered a lot, and I haven't even scratched the surface. Is the way I feel, but
he hit the fucking dome, dude.
You've got South America,
he bounced
Australia,
off the dome,
and South Africa. Yeah, there, and no fly goes under the or across the South Pole.
No,
Not one fly. It'd be by far the quickest way to do it. Airplane fuel. Well, probably suppose it's
oh, you recorded it? I've never seen that.
Airplane fuel was pretty expensive. Certainly one of the major costs to run an airline. So why would you go thousands of miles out of the way if you could go? Especially, certainly from South America to Australia.
You see that? South America to Australia, because he knows those two places don't exist.
Yeah. Laws about going to Antarctica. If we decided, yeah, you know what, let's club together, let's go and see for
Even
ourselves.
in the ice cold? She was still sending out snatch fumes?
Okay, big boat. Well, do it in style, we'll do luxury, whatever.
You think the ice cold would freeze Hillary's snatch funk crystals?
We'll go and see for ourselves what's going on there. Anyway, we won't be able to go. You get closed down, you get... Cause it's been tried. Loads and loads more questions. Loads and loads more questions that you can ask. Horizon's always flat. We've covered a lot of them tonight anyway.
I'm going to Antarctica. Fuck this.
That one. Covered most of them.
A sweatshirt should be good, right? Just go to Antarctica. I don't need anything crazy. Just a sweatshirt. Maybe some gloves.
Star trails. Are the stars moving or are we moving? If we're in a vast universe and there's galaxies moving off at different... I don't know, we're talking about big distances and everything else. And
it would freeze their stink lines, you would think.
Again. But how can star trails do that, really? There should be lots of parallax when we look at the stars.
But that's moving, it's spinning.
Why are they lying to us? They want to convince us that we're alone in a vast universe.
Oh, here we go, finally.
We're randomly created. There's no purpose to us, really. There's no purpose to the whole human life, there's no purpose to your individual life. Not really. Yes, of course we have. We feel that, and we get on with it anyway, even if you're, wherever you are. But in the grand scheme of things, in the philosophical, why am I here? In the really big questions, well, if they're already framed by we're in a vast universe, then your options or your thinking gets influenced by your environment 100%.
That's one of life's great mysteries.
You believe you're in a vast universe and a spinning ball amongst lots of planets and an unknowable universe, then you're going to live your life as such, live your life accordingly. I don't believe that there's any vast universe out there. We see stars, but stars are points of light. Everything else is inferred.
Well, what are stars then?
It really is. It's inferred both by Hollywood, by the Star Wars, Starship, by the sci-fi stuff, and by, like I say, by NASA, by those images which we've basically gone through and shown that these can't be real because the spaceships that they supposedly went on weren't real either. I love this quote. By removing Earth from the motionless centre of the universe, these dark philosophers who we've talked about have moved us physically and metaphysically from a place of supreme importance to one of complete nihilistic indifference. Does that not sound most of the world today? The kids that
but they could have done that without faking the whole space thing. They could have made you feel like shit on a flat Earth
today. The things that are shown, the attitudes that they have. Yeah, there's not enough of us that are consciously aware that
seems overkill to make you feel like shit.
Most people are going along with what's thrown at them with the world. They're not fighting it. They're not saying this isn't right. If the Earth, however, is the centre of the universe, the ideas of God, creation, and a purpose for human existence are resplendent. If the Earth is just one of billions of planets revolving around billions of stars and billions of galaxies, then the ideas of God, creation, and a specific purpose for Earth and human existence become highly implausible. It goes along, it's part of a trio of things, heliocentrism. It goes along with the Big Bang and evolution, and they're all theories. And it's a trio.
We gotta send this guy into space.
And again, evolution, the theory of evolution was something we're all taught as science, as scientific fact, and it's obviously I can't go into much detail now, but it's another one of those things. Scientific fact, you must be mad to to question it. But again, when you look into the scientific evidence for it, fossil evidence, the only question you have to ask...
You gave us no scientific evidence other than the pictures of some city 60 miles away.
Show me evidence of one single species turning from one animal turning from one species into a completely different animal. Fossil evidence, a live animal, a half fish, half frog, a half man, half monkey. Yeah, anything like that. And how do you have half an eye? Yeah, if we're all evolved, something created eyes. It'd be
come on, dude, show us a picture of your karate suit, move on.
At some point in its evolution. Well, at some point did it have half an eye, or 3/4 of an eye, or a bit of an eye? Because you need the whole eye to work. Same with the liver and the heart and all the rest of our organs and well, every part of life really. It's part of the same thing. It's getting us to believe that we are random and undesigned and uncreated. And it's funny for what purports to be what purports
I don't know
what
his name is.
Where we don't want
Does it say?
We don't want religious instruction. We don't want we don't want bad rules. We don't want bad laws.
Doesn't say his name. Oh, this goes on for a while.
To come kind of full circle round to the idea that there is not only creator, but it seems that all of these guys have been spending all their time trying to convince us that there isn't, through NASA and space lines.
Yeah, see, Earth's flat and everyone's great now.
Thing about evolution, like I said,
we solved everything.
Again, look into it for yourself by all means. So it
big button.
It all goes down to the same thing. Big Bang, evolution, and heliocentrism are all Kabbalist ideas. They're actually religious ideas. So people that go around thinking that they're atheists are actually, again, probably indoctrinated into this cult.
You hear that, atheist?
What do I think the Earth looks like?
It's your
no
fault.
idea. This is the general model from the Flat Earth Society. I don't believe this is true. I'll tell you why. There's a couple of things actually, but this is one of the main ones. 24-hour Arctic sun is a fact.
And of course it's from We Are Change, which was always the gayest shit ever.
And I'm talking about the Arctic Circle as well. It's not just right on the North Pole. On the Arctic Circle you get 24-hour sun, but we never see the sun in the North sky. Yeah? Anyone that's looked into this flat Earth model will say the sun goes round and round and round and round. It goes tighter for our northern summer and then goes away again as it's doing now for the southern winter. And I believe this model for a little while, but we could never figure out, hang on a minute. So there's the Arctic sun. It must go really tight to never go down, but if we're living here, we never see the sun in the North sky. Yeah? And the models from the Flat Earth Society, it's also the UN map. So again, they have the main idea, but they also control the opposition. They also control the secondary, as far as I'm concerned, as well. Ancient Hebrew conception, you could also say the ancient Sumerian conception as well.
Yeah, but they were Catholic, skillet man.
This is probably getting to it, but this is why we need people to look into it. Scientists especially. Scientists and explorers.
That's right.
And what have you. Tell us what it's really like. We want to know what it's really like. We know we've been lied to. Once you figured out you've been lied to about the model that they've given us, well, I can't stand there and say this is the model and this is the model and this is the model because I haven't done the experiment, so they haven't. So we can break down the.
So if you haven't done the experiments, why
are you together and find out what the new model?
Why are you yapping?
Or what the real model is, not the new model. What the real model is.
You just started laughing.
Fixed plane Earth, it's got mountains and what have you. It's a firmament, a dome above it. Again, the only evidence that there is some kind of limit to the sky is the fact that we obviously haven't been beyond it. There's no evidence. There's no actual hard evidence for it. Where I'm at now, this is probably the closest, and it's the map that we're all kind of used to. The Atlas kind of map. The only problem with the model that I've got in my head at the moment, and I'm not saying this is the model and I'm fixed on it. If somebody comes up, as soon as people come up with new information, I'm open to change, and that's how we should be. Is that it does fit perfect together. Remember the old BBC rolling logo? Yeah.
What are you talking about,
You can do it
dude?
for yourself. I took about 3, and it's seamless. It's seamless. There's no joins in it whatsoever.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So, here's me saying, I think the spinning ball Earth is just made up, but I think, and again, it wouldn't work.
Why are you laughing, dude? How much have you drank?
One way or the other, but the sun rises in the east, Yeah. Okay, we'll go further north and further south from the equator as it goes along. It goes along, lights up the day. Yeah, and we can look at this one time and day as well. Lights up the day.
Everyone there's got to be so bored. Like,
timeline. I think it appears.
you'd think most people had to have walked out by then. This guy's torture, dude.
It's an infinite space loop.
You'd think something like Flat
If
Earth
it
would be
didn't work
exciting.
properly, you'd notice.
Check this out. We did this. No, it's
You're
just
like
the guy
the
showing
Bermuda
shitty
Triangle or
pictures.
something. It's only where I'm up to so far. Yeah, but the problem. This is the other problem with this. All the Flat Earth movement's map is they've got Australia as big as Russia, as long as Africa.
Which may or may not
Yeah,
exist.
the masses are completely wrong. Yeah, because again, from first evidence, you know, people will have measured exactly how you can go up in a plane and obviously measure along the land exactly how big these continents are. That can be confirmed. Night and days, where it's night and where it's day, can be confirmed by people on the ground, by primary knowledge. Yeah. So if there's official sunrise for where I live, you know, in the north of England, and they say it's sunrise at 7 o'clock, and we know it's sunrise at 5 o'clock, I say, hang on a minute, that's completely wrong. Yeah. The timeanddate.com will show you night and day patterns.
All right.
Anywhere in the world.
All right. So explain how it works.
We've had a video could show you some animations of it, but this is about where I'm up to. We're coming to the very end of it now. Like I say, it's all completely about getting us away from the idea that the Earth was created by a supreme being.
I thought this would be funny because, like, there's people who are really into it, and you know they're goofy, but, like, they have their own wacky theories, and it's kind of interesting, you know? This guy, though, this guy just stinks. That's been the whole trend with these goofy Monday streams. It's like, oh, that sounds like it can't be bad. and it's always the worst thing you've ever seen in your life every week.
Here.
I debunked myself. How did I do that? Oh. I thought you said I did, not Tardbunker.
The problem is that, well, not the problem is, the idea of heliocentrism, the Triple Crown, heliocentrism, the Big Bang, and evolution,
this guy
disproves everything in the Bible. It disproves it.
I just like the format where they get up in front of a projector and yap because it's always shitty. Like, not a bad shitty, but a funny shitty. They always show pictures of themselves in karate suits. And sometimes
But
they're
for
great.
myself, if I've
they do.
done the
They
research,
do talk
and
in
hang on a
circles.
minute, evolution's at the key. Flattered the globe Earth, the heliocentrism is just completely falling apart. There's no Big Bang. Some can't come out of nothing anyway. It's completely scientific, which is why I say it's come from Kabbalism. Well, that puts the Bible back on the
Satan
table.
House was dank.
Because people ask why the flat Earth. There's two things people say. One, it's a psyop. It can't be a psyop, can it? It can't be a psyop if they're not mass doing it. This is generally come from the ground up. But the other thing is, what does it matter? What does it matter if it's flat or round or triangle or square? Right. There's governments and the they're attacking people and they're doing all this stuff. But
that's what we like, right?
It matters everything. It matters everything. If it comes down to who we really are, what we're really doing here. The big philosophical questions that every single person asks themselves, whether they admit it or not, every single person really asks themselves, what am I doing here? Is there a God or isn't there? Why is all religious instruction terrible?
Oh, here we go.
Why does no religious instruction?
Everything we watch, whether it's about aliens or underground tunnels or Satanists, it always ends up with New Age nonsense. Or the Mandela effect. It always ends up with religion is stupid every time.
Being really close to God or being godly, the religions act terribly. They really do. But this is the
every single one, even the big names. David Icke does it too.
Because I wasn't brought.
Jordan Maxwell did it.
In fact, I was atheist up until.
They all have the same script.
This is the key for me, realising that they've lied about this. The size of the deception. Yeah, that they've got us all believing we're on a spinning ball Earth.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, but the Nazis, the psychic Nazis was a little hard.
You actually look for yourself and you trust your own senses.
This was a punishment.
This place is spinning around.
Everybody hugged that guy. Oh, that was the worst.
everything's here for us. The sun and the moon and the stars are a magnificent timepiece that have been created by the Creator, by a God who loves you, and loves all of us. And that's why He's created that timepiece for us. But somebody
That's right, James. That fucking
has quite
stupid song.
cleverly taken that and got us to believe virtually the opposite. The size and the cleverness of the deception is often what puts people off accepting it. Yeah? I'll leave it there.
That's
Thank
right
you
on
very
his
much.
head. Oh, dude, you are terrible, dude. You better not be taking.
Think they're on a
Are you gonna take questions? You fucking dullard. This should be good.
spinning globe Earth and now it doesn't. I've not convinced anybody yet. Do your own research by all means. Check everything out. Cover a lot of information, and to be honest with you, it's either a third or a half of it. I don't think.
What do you think we are?
Say again.
What do you think we are?
I think we're human beings. I think we're men and women created by God.
What?
And the planet as we know it, what do you think that is?
In terms of
Shape,
yeah,
where it is.
I think it's probably that. Well, in terms of where it is, I think, like I say, this idea of we're in a vast universe. Again, I think that's in our heads.
It's bad when at the end of your almost 2-hour presentation, some guy has to ask, "Well, what do you think we're living on? What is it then?" And he never addressed
It's only
that.
looking at the stars that we can say that anybody can convince us. Look, the stars there, yeah, aren't they all suns? Well, if you get out of your if you get out of your head the idea that these stars are also suns and they've got planets, because we're not in a solar system as far as I've uncovered. We're not all in a solar system with planets. We are,
What?
that's the Earth. There's the sun and the moon and the stars, and they're all, whatever they're doing. Like I said, I don't know the exact model, but they're all going about for us. It's a magnificent timepiece in the sky for us. Yeah, the difference is in perspective.
No idea what this guy's saying.
It shows you how important we really are. And let's face it, we've been, put down and denigrated and shut down for thousands of years. You know what I mean? This has been going on for generations and generations. But instead of thinking, like I say, that we're lost among some vast universe and we might be able to, save this planet, I don't know what's going to happen and all the rest of it, but no, this is all there is. And even though quite clearly Lucifer, Satan, the Dark One, the evil people, the Freemasons, whoever you want to say, are quite clearly running the world, they're only running the world for as long and as far as God will let them. So, why is there evil in the world? You can go on and on and on and on. Most people about religious instruction. I did as well. I rejected it by the time I was 11 years old. I said, what a load of crap. I was brought up Jewish. It turns out they don't teach the
You don't say there, little feller.
Bible either. They teach the Talmud. The Talmud was learned in Babylon when the Israelites got exiled to Babylon. The Roman Catholic Church does not teach the Bible. It's changed the Ten Commandments. It's changed. I mean, obviously.
I need a blue rise for
They
this.
own the Jesuits. The Jesuits own the Freemasons and all the secret societies. They are the most evil. But wouldn't you do that if you were trying to get people away from God? If you're trying to get people to disbelieve that, the best thing to do is infiltrate the religions and go around killing people in the name of God. Yeah, impersonate.
I was brought up strict Catholic.
Right.
Absolutely strict Catholic.
Yeah.
And one of the last days at school, they tried to get us to become a nun. All the the young girls, they tried to convert us to go to.
All right, what do you want him to do with that, lady? Who cares?
I don't.
Well, the convents were originally invented so the bishops could, There's no celibacy, there's nothing about celibacy in the Bible. They certainly don't worship on a Sunday, So not just the Catholic religion, all the Christian,
Yeah, idiots. It's Saturday.
all the Protestant denominations. Sunday goes back to sun worship again. We're going back to Lucifer and Satan worship. It's part of the same thing. Counterfeit religion.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
It seems to me like that, evil has been sort of controlling the world for a long time.
Yeah.
Do you think in our lifetime it's changing? Because a lot of stuff recently seems to be really.
It looks like it, doesn't it? I think that's what we're all. That's why we're all. I'm new to the truth movement as well. I'm fully woke up in
So obnoxious.
I realised all my life that things were wrong. As I think I said in the interview with Alex, but it wasn't until in 2013 that it fully dawned on me that evil wasn't running the world. I mean, seriously, organised, psychopathic evil. So there seems to be. I mean, this particular topic and movement does seem to be growing, exponentially at a faster rate than anything else. But you don't know. I mean, I see people say the same things in the Flat Earth groups that people will say about all kinds of, everyone's going to get the truth now, everyone's going to find this out and everything else. And it quite clearly doesn't happen because...
Well, this has to be years and years ago. When did this come out?
Of politics and banking,
2015,
and media and education.
There was no Corvids back then.
Of our lives, it's not going to fall apart by even 100 or 1,000 or 100,000 people. Leaving it, which would be the best thing that you can do. I now believe. Are we going to see in our lifetime? I keep saying one.
All right, who cares about this?
Looking at the September,
this guy just knows how to yap. These guys are
20,
so good at talking and not saying anything. It's amazing. It's fucking amazing.
4th and 28th and all that. I mean, the overhype sort of kind of gives it away in the first place. And you're like, well, something might happen, something might not. I certainly kept my eye on the stocks.
Shut your mouth.
If there's going to be a financial crash, let's go out and buy as many tins as you can possibly can. But apart from that, we're doing everything up front. It was the Pope going to the UN, signing off on the climate change agenda. That fits
it's
in
on the moon.
Okay,
climate change and the global
I'm Logan on the moon.
I binged.
But Satan is Thupper Duck and Dawsome. Youth.
Satan is Thupper Duck and Dawsome. That's what they always end up saying every time.
The Flat Earth realisation as well, the fixed Earth realisation as well. So is all the aliens. Everything alien. I don't even know.
Shit.
I don't think they need Project Bluebeam. When I first discovered the Flat Earth, I thought, well, Project Bluebeam's for definite. Then they definitely do some alien deception. Either Savior.
Dude, you don't believe in
or
the Flat
Independence
Earth.
Day
You're just trying to sell shit to rubes. You're peddling your crap to rubes.
Invaders, and we all have to, get together. Well, that's one way to bring about a one world government. To have a constant, threat from Pluto, I suppose, or wherever they're going to bring the aliens from.
Where's your book?
But they don't need it. I say, as long as people are 100% fixed in this idea that there's
a karate suit, you mean?
There's no God and there's no purpose to their lives, and we are at the mercy of a random forces, and the rulers' whims. People do feel helpless. I think people are.
Oh, if he pulls out an acoustic guitar, I'm out.
Very aware that there's something seriously wrong when people aren't getting done for child rape and all the rest of it. And they're establishment figures. If it was you or I, and obviously we wouldn't be child rapers in the first place. We're not psychopathic Luciferian.
And you can tell the people who went out to listen to him are like really dumb.
But,
either that or drunk. If they're drunk, I'll give them a pass.
The crime, you know damn well you'd be charged, you'd be tried, you'd be in prison very, very quickly, and rightly so. But there's a second set of a second class of, or a third class, if you like.
Next question.
Individuals, and there's millions of them. And they seem immune from the law, and that's not right. We don't have
justice. Does this mean to Star Trek?
Say that we do, and it all fits in because we're all
right.
Babylonian cult. And I say Babylonian, you can call it satanic, you can call it Luciferian. It's a counterfeit religion.
You'd have to be drunk.
The prevailing philosophy of the day, and it's very popular in the Truth movement and the New Age kind of thing, is. He
really
does.
does.
Our own God, we can be our own saviors.
But he's talking about shit not even related to Flat Earth. Yeah, okay, Satanists, we got it. Babylonian Satanists, we got it, dude. We got it.
In ourselves.
It's not 1994. We understand.
To the next level of consciousness, and I certainly thought that way up until very recently, 6-9 months ago. But I've never seen anybody create. Apart from the usual way that we create life, but no man or scientist has created life from scratch out of nothing. But yet life exists. So how can those two things, two things should, certainly give us pause for thought. It's different. When I used to read the Bible or religion, it's just such a turn off. It's an immediate turn off. That's again a good job. That's a brilliant job of programming. You mentioned the word Jesus.
Oh great! How much you hate this guy, dude? Let's see this guy ghoul out. You ready?
South Park episodes now, and and all the rest of it. It's a joke, it's a joke figure, and all the rest of it. But Satan runs the world, and we all think like that. We all think it's all what have you. Then you got to take a second look at it. I think anyway. I can rant on for ages, mate. Any more questions specific to the flat Earth? Any
Yeah, satellite dishes that we have on our houses.
Yeah.
The vast majority of houses in the UK, I would say,
sure are
going on, have a satellite dish. Now, I've looked on Wikipedia recently, and it gives a very clear, non-confusing explanation that is communicating with an orbiting satellite. So why then do they all have to be at a low trajectory, at a shallow angle, and all point in the same direction? Because surely, if they were communicating that something was above us in Earth's orbit,
do a job bank,
it would just be up, wouldn't it, on our roofs or on, pointing. Why does it have to be at a shallow trajectory and they're all on the same street at least, pointing the same way?
Yeah. Well, they're virtually horizontal, aren't they?
Well, they're at a very short.
Was he? It's hard to tell, man, because the guys he can't stick on one topic for 2 seconds.
Angle. Yeah, I mean, it's part of the other one I mentioned as well. They're obviously pointing to the towers, aren't they?
Yes.
They're obviously pointing to cell towers. Because that's people say, well, hang on, my GPS works. Although GPS has been around since the 70s, so I'm pretty sure there wasn't that many satellites up there at the time. But your GPS works from cell phone towers. 3 cell phone towers will triangulate your position. Because if it worked off satellites, well, if your mobile worked off satellites anyway, you wouldn't lose your signal in the middle of the countryside, or the middle of the desert or wherever. You lose your signal. If we're covered with satellites, then you should be blanket coverage everywhere. Things work. This is what happens. You see, and that's it. People go, well, you're saying science doesn't work.
5G is gonna melt your face off, partisan.
You're talking to me on the internet. How can we not gone to the moon if you're talking to me on the internet? One thing doesn't necessarily follow the other, and just again because the technology works, or we've got new technology. Maybe they spent some of the billions of dollars that they've stolen off us, actually on producing some decent technology.
I think you've given us loads
This
of
lockdown's
evidence,
such horse shit.
actual physical proof.
Although, don't tell anybody. I got out of Thanksgiving this year. I'm pretty excited. I can't explain to people how much I hate Thanksgiving.
It was really interesting.
I hate the food.
Where you were speaking
I hate
about
everything.
New York at 1 o'clock.
Right.
And then the other side of the sun.
Yeah.
You'd be in the dark.
I hate Thanksgiving.
And you'd also see a complete.
It's not the people. I got nothing against the people. I just don't like Thanksgiving.
The stars behind the sun. You wouldn't just see the same constellations, would you?
It really is.
Different arrangements of stars.
100%. And also, if you're on, if that's the sun and the Earth,
Just the way I like
the
it,
sun's
partisan.
light should block out a lot of those stars. But as we rotate, we
It's
see
not
all
the
the
thankful thing. I just
all the same stars every night.
don't like it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so they change slightly they do change slightly from the year round, from season to season, but the stars rotate slightly every night.
How dare you say that? I just never liked Thanksgiving. Even when I was a little kid. It make me so gross.
There's
Even
no
when I was a
black
little
cloud
kid, I didn't like Thanksgiving.
on the other
Millions
side.
of miles in
Yeah.
the opposite direction.
Yeah, we should be we would be facing the other way. The holes become apparent once, this is what I say about weighted evidence, the holes become apparent in the model that we've all been given. Once you start...
I haven't eaten
examining-
a hungry man since I was a little fella.
Pulling those threads, once you start pulling the threads,
Turkey's
you start
alright.
asking yourself question
Alright.
upon question upon question.
Let's not get crazy.
And it's growing, like you say. It's
I don't really like turkey, and I don't like ham. So it's
realisation
like I'm
that's growing,
fucked.
because it does come down to people say, well, why is it so important? Why is the shape of it so important? Because it's how can the world where we live, right, the very
Chicken's
basics
much better
of
than
the
turkey
land that
anyway.
we stand, how can it not be important? The shape.
Hot dog.
And are we, is there a universe out there? Are there any other? If this is the only planet, and if you think about it, just look at the variety of life, the millions and millions and millions of diversity of creatures. Yeah, none of which have ever changed into another one. There is adaptation, quite obviously, variation in genes and all the rest of it. But why would you need another planet? If you look at any of those documentaries, wildlife documentaries, wildlife documentaries, you see these mad creatures in the sea.
Yeah, but no, like turkey, no one knows when people's gonna come and eat it, and then it's like it's been sitting for a while by the time you get to it, and it just sucks.
At the bottom of the sea. And they look like aliens. They look like, the
chicken sandwich
you could possibly think.
Yeah. How come I can't get a burger on Thanksgiving?
There's such a variety of life.
Turkey.
Again, if you're a creator,
alright, dude,
unless
fuck
you came
off,
out
dude.
randomly from nothing. If you're a creator, you're going to create a world for beings to live in, and hopefully one day for you to live in them as well. Then just create one great big massive place and put everything there. Why would you have
happy retard?
Just a basic fact.
I like mashed taters.
What do you think's at the end then? If you sort of walked in one direction, would you get? Are you saying this is massive and then limitless?
I don't think. I know people think it's limitless. I think there are bounds to it, but like I say, if you carry on going west from California or from South America, whichever way, you'll just end up there. I also think if you go north from Russia,
I just don't like a big thick piece of ham. I just don't like if it's thin. I like it. I don't like the
coming
giant
south into
pieces
Canada.
of
I
ham.
think it's the same for the south as well. Obviously, Antarctica, but so I think there are limits. If you kind of got high enough to see it, you could see the edges of it. But I think in terms of actual exploration from the ground. And you're talking, I could say, I don't know whether they'd ever let us do it, but if we've got 20 or 30 years, then there's plenty of time to find out and certainly make advances on it. So yeah, people say there's an influence.
And who doesn't say anything?
Is there an influence playing? People talk about the ice wall as well.
Ice walls.
Again, that's going back to the circular model. I think there's an ice wall, and it's being guarded. But again, if it's 25,000 miles, you always get whistleblowers. 75 NASA scientists have been killed over that.
Yeah, that's what I always do. At Thanksgiving, I always fill up on the cheap shit. Give me some taters and corn.
3 or 4 years. Yeah, so
and like 2 tiny pieces of meat.
Say, well, it's a lot of people to keep quiet, and millions of people, thousands of people have to be on it. Thousands of people are in it. They joined the Freemasons, and they swear blood oaths, not just the Freemasons.
I didn't have curfew.
All these secret societies, but they swear oaths to those societies to keep the secrets.
The UN.
And they get a nice life out of it. Yeah, they get promotions and better jobs, and doors open for them. So the world opens up for them. So people do keep quiet, but you do get whistleblowers. If there was an ice wall and there was a huge big Antarctic ice army guarding it, which is what people can conjecture, again you'd have whistleblowers, you'd know about it. There's somebody somewhere would say, what's all this money for? Yeah, what's all somebody somewhere would find out about it. I'm not saying there isn't. I'm not saying that is the model and the other model's wrong, but there are enough holes in the other model. I'm saying the round model.
Here's what you do: you get boats to the ice wall, and then when you're like 10 miles away, you all put on jetpacks and fly the rest. And then you're there.
The flat circle. The globe model for me.
Atlantis.
But I've had these. I've been living this for a year. This might be completely new to you. You might have had a quick look at it. You might have looked, and what have you.
I've never had a Thanksgiving where people drank. If people had a couple beers, you could talk me into it.
For me, like I say, once you've looked at a weight of evidence, hopefully I've shown you a weight of evidence tonight, and I've not even scratched the surface. I may have done half of it. There's another whole half out there, like I say, the moon and all kinds of things. But if I've shown you enough to certainly pique your interest and see the size of this massive deception, then I've done my job and it's been a worthwhile evening.
You didn't do jack shit, dude.
They certainly had a goal, didn't they, in the 50s. If there is a firmament covering the flat Earth with the nuclear testing, where they were just basically firing
candied yams
in the sky, weren't they? So,
I would have missed out.
Which might have been stupid, actually. A stupid thing to do.
That might be where meteors come from.
See, I didn't have a cool Thanksgiving like that.
See, there's things that I don't know.
It's a lot of eating and talking about the weather.
and there's certainly anomalies.
He's still yapping.
What about this and what about that? That's the idea, is for people to ask questions and research themselves.
I've got a question. The official line is the Earth's atmosphere moving with the spin of the Earth.
Yeah,
that's the official line.
Yeah.
Okay, so when when a space rocket or a shuttle leaves the Earth's atmosphere and then it comes into a vacuum where there isn't 1,036 miles an hour of spin, wouldn't that have some sort of effect on the rocket, you know, akin to travelling down the motorway at 70 miles an hour and throwing something out and watching the object just go from one speed and decelerating massively?
Dude, if I had Alpha Getty, do you think I'd be here right now, Mole Man?
Surely something like a space rocket that hasn't got that much shielding. I mean, it's only...
It's a tin can.
Yeah.
Really?
Or a shuttle, once it leaves the Earth's atmosphere and then goes
Never had a
spin,
Thanksgiving
surely
like that.
that's going to do something.
I'd expect it to rip it apart.
Well, it will.
There's a lovely video of,
Dude.
of vacuums picking things up, vacuums beating gravity. But apparently our atmosphere is held in by
not only
gravity and the vacuum and the pressure.
See, he brought up that thing about throwing the ball while driving in the car, and it doesn't fly out the back window.
I mean, you know, I might be showing my ignorance of the official scientific line there. I would imagine I am. But it can't be confirmed by actual scientific experiments or actual personal observation. Like I say, the witness testimony of several, you know, you all told me, we've all seen X, Y, Z. Hang on a minute, we saw, you know, if anything I'd shown tonight, I'd say, oh, hang on a minute, that's not, you know, then I've done, oh, okay, fine. You know, witness testimony of ordinary people is almost as good as, you know, where you can't confirm.
This sleepy feller.
But this idea
He's
that
had enough.
You know, the atmosphere, and by the atmosphere I'm presuming they mean the actual air that
guy.
we're breathing. It's all spinning round at 1,000 miles an hour with us. But how can things how can a bee go?
Now you just made me sick, James.
I nicely flap the other way. Sure, it's got to go with a spin. It doesn't make sense once you start, you know, thinking about it. And it's the Emperor's New Clothes. It's some saying the Emperor's butt naked. It's the same. It's exactly the same thing with it. I've got nothing to add on that. I hope you've enjoyed that.
Any more questions?
Can
No.
we have a couple of children, please?
Okay then, I'll play a song. Any particular request?
Oh no! Of course. Why do they always have acoustic guitars? All right, guys. I want you to hold up your lighters and let's get down. And a capo. You ever see the capo just run, dude? I hate acoustic guitars. People are leaving.
I've been waiting all this time.
Okay, get fucked, man.
What's really going on? I can't wait. How much longer? Pretty soon we will all be gone. Every time they make you afraid, remember, someone's getting paid to make a shy away or hate everything you don't know about yet. Every time they mention war, well, they call it every other word now, but it's slaughter that they're really talking about all the time. It's just what they desire, 'cause they make billions of death, blood, and fire. I can't tell you how dark tired I am of this game. Oh, brother, can you see what they're doing to you? Can't seem to look right. I've been searching all my life, trying to find out what's tell the world.
So bad.
What?
All right. Look. Man, that shit's terrible. Oh, every time you see, you know, that. It's time to go. Guys, I'm sorry. I feel like I have to apologize every Monday. But I think we learned something. The flat earth and stuff. It's so flat and so earth. Yeah, right? Fuck that guy indeed. But I gotta get going. Thanks for coming out and watching and stuff. And hey, I'll see you Friday or something. Fuck this. Acoustic guitars are for quasars.
Where'd you think he's flying to? Maybe he has a family too.
Shut up, retards. Bye, everybody.